Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, with some breaking news. The Las Vegas Raiders have moved on from defensive tackle Christian Wilkins. Coming up here on today's show, I'm going to tell you everything that there is to know around this Wilkins situation, and I'll just say it like this. This is an ongoing process. There is going to be a lot of news that happens now, 5 minutes from now, 10 minutes from now, probably 30 to an hour from now. I am going to do my best to keep you up to date. But here's the thing. Last month, I reported that Christian Wilkins needed another surgery. He didn't want to have it. The Raiders told him that he needed to have it. That's the reason why we're sitting here right now. That's the reason why the Raiders are moving on from Wilkins. Now, I get it. A lot of y'all are probably wondering, well, Mitch, how much money is it going to cost the Silver and Black? I will get into everything that there is to know around this situation, and then on top of that, probably in an hour from now, I'll also be breaking down some potential Christian Wilkins replacements on today's show. Also, the Las Vegas Raiders have just released a statement on Wilkins. If one of you guys could get that for me. But I want to know from the nation, what is your one-word reaction to the Raiders moving on from Wilkins? I'll say it like this. I'm stunned. I was super fired up when the Raiders last offseason went out and they brought in Wilkins, and I thought this was a slam dunk move. Brought him in for 4 years, $110 million. They gave him a boatload of guaranteed money. And right now it looks like there's a little bit of a lawsuit of some sorts between Wilkins and the Raiders in terms of how much money Wilkins is going to actually get. What we do know is this. Essentially, he played 5 games for the Raiders. In those 5 games, he made somewhere around about $57.5 million. That was the guaranteed, and that's the way that it is. Ian Rappaport, a stunner. The Raiders are releasing standout defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, the former prize of free agency, after just one season of a 5-year $110. So since the Raiders gave him that $57.5 fully guaranteed, essentially the way that was broken down, it's like $20 million this season, an additional 8 as well, and then 29 last season. What the Raiders right now are trying to do is they're trying to negotiate with the Christian Wilkins' team and figuring out where the rest of this money is going to lay. The Raiders and Wilkins have had an ongoing dispute over his foot and whether or not to have the surgery. The team wanted him to. He declined after several opinions. Now released, there is also expected to be a fight over the guaranteed money. Adam Schefter also chiming in here on the Wilkins situation. With the Raiders voiding the remaining $35.2 million of guaranteed money left on Wilkins' contract last month, and Wilkins is filing a grievance with the NFLPA today, this is a situation that is far from over. So essentially, what the Raiders are trying to do is they are trying to save that $35.2 million that they still owe Christian Wilkins, and unfortunately, this is going to be an ugly situation. The Las Vegas Raiders, they actually just released a statement now. We have decided that it is in the best interest of the organization to move on from Christian Wilkins, and he has been informed of his release from the team. This franchise has a commitment to excellence on and off the field. With no clear path or plan for future return to play from Christian, this transaction is necessary for the entire organization to move forward and prepare for the new season. I mean, I'll tell you this right now. You don't see too many times NFL teams make a statement like that, and I think that this is a breakup where, you have breakups in real life with your significant other or what have you. You have divorces with your significant other. This is the Raiders saying that Christian Wilkins did not listen to their medical team, which, again, I tried to tell everybody last month that the Raiders were trying to get Wilkins to have another surgery. Wilkins didn't want to have that other surgery because it would have put his entire season in jeopardy. He thought he was going to be able to play through it. The Raiders have been in a very difficult situation. Pete Carroll said a few months ago, I want to say it was on May 21st, that this was an ongoing situation. And then yesterday, or 2 days ago, Pete was asked again, what exactly is happening here with Wilkins? There's just a lot of question marks. Here's the thing, though. I know that some people think that I have sources. I know other people don't. I'm not ever going to try to sit up here and act like a beat reporter. I'm not ever going to try to sit up here and act like an insider. But when I get information that I think is important to Raiders fans, I share it. I'm a Raiders fan just like all of y'all. I bleed silver and black. I do everything for this team. I put my life on the line. We put our families on hold. Why? Because I have that dedication and commitment to excellence. to the Raiders. But I'll be very transparent. I am hoping that people, when they hear me talk about things going forward, you start taking it a little bit more serious. This is the video. Go freaking check it out. Everything that is being reported right now is everything that I talked about in this video. That's why I want you to hit that subscribe button. It's why I want you to turn on those notifications, because we do a lot of homework. We have made a lot of connections. We've been able to reach out to a lot of important people that have a lot of ties to a lot of these players. It's why I want you to hit that subscribe button. But again, I am not going to sit up here and act like I'm going to be an insider day in and day out. My job here is this, to talk about the Raiders. And when I get information and I sit there and I go, yeah, that is really important and Raider fans should know that, I'm going to share that information. So I want to know from y'all, because, and this is how this show is going to go. Right now, we already got over 2,000 people on today's live show. And if you appreciate the fact that Jeremy and I are hanging out here a little bit later, we literally were getting ready to leave Chat Sports, and then we came on back. Why? Because y'all deserve it. Because the 1,800 people here watching right now are probably wondering the exact same thing that I'm wondering. What the hell are the next steps that we are going to do? Because Wilkins was going to be a major part in this organization. He was going to be a major part for this team to be able to take that next step. But that was the last regime. Pete Carroll, John Spytek, they're not taking this bullshit route. If the medical team told you to get a surgery and you decided not to, then I think that you personally got to live with that. And I know that there's going to be people that go back and forth on what exactly is going to happen here with this Wilkins situation. But here's what I want to know. If you knew about this a month ago, I want you to hit that like button. If you watched the video that we dropped about a month ago, I want you to hit that like button, because I mean this from the bottom of my heart. We put in our time, we put in our effort, and there is not another Raiders YouTuber. There is not another Raiders beat reporter. There is not a person on this planet that knows more about the Las Vegas Raiders than the Raiders Report does. And I promise you, you will become a smarter Raiders fan by subscribing to this channel right here. So the 2,000 people that are pulled up here on July 24th, I appreciate you and I respect the hell out of you. So let's look at this Raiders depth chart now. Since the silver and black have decided to move on from Christian Wilkins, Leki Fotu was getting a lot of work early in minicamp. He was getting a lot of work this offseason. He's the big body guy that the Raiders signed this offseason. Watch out for a guy like Zach Carter to try to take that next step up. Adam Butler was signed to a 3-year, $16.5 million deal. He's going to be the big guy on the interior now. Watch out also for a young man like John Ulalu, who is still trying to find his footing in the National Football League. The Raiders drafted J.J. Pegues. The Raiders drafted Tonka Hemingway. You got Tank Booker, who is a big guy from SMU, a UDFA, and then Trevin Mahe, who was another player, UDFA, trying to make a name for himself on this Raiders squad. So the way that I want today's show is this. If you got a question or you got a comment, use hashtag Raiders or Super Chat. If I ask you a question, is this the worst Raiders signing of all time? Give me a yes, give me a no. I also want to say this. Whoever is the MVP of today's show, I'm going to send you a Raiders Report hat. What'd you say? Not going to send you a Wilkins jersey. Chugs is making fun of me. I mean, it is pretty funny. Whoever is the XP MVP of this live show, I'm going to send you some Raiders Report swag. And right now, it's the king. I think it's the chili man. 2,000 people here in the building, and I'm going to give some shout-outs here to the nation. What are we thinking? 4 years, $110 million, $27 million a year, $57.5 million guaranteed. And if you're just tuning in, yes, this is real. The Las Vegas Raiders have just moved on from Christian Wilkins. And coming up here in about 10 minutes or so, I am going to get into an entire segment, an entire cut of everything that you need to know around this Christian Wilkins situation. LI Raider 312 says easily the worst. Rusty T, not by a long shot. All right, hey, Gutierrez. Somebody said, well, Jamarcus Russell isn't a signing. So if you're saying Jamarcus Russell, I encourage you that you need to know ball here a little bit better. Jimmy G was the worst signing. Jimmy G was 3 for 72. Gruden contract, you can make an argument, might have been worse, but the Gruden contract was less than the Christian Wilkins contract. Gruden was 10 years for $100 million, guaranteed. Wilkins, 4 for 110, $57.5 million. I do think that we're going to be able to sit back and look and say, this is one of the worst contracts in Raiders history. Point blank simple. Let's go to my man Ed Robbins, and if you want to see your name up here on this show, you got to super chat or use hashtag Raiders to get up here. This is what makes this channel the best in the world. Ed, from the bottom of my heart, man, I greatly, greatly appreciate that, and I hold strong, and I'll say this. There's not a person on this planet that knows more about the Las Vegas Raiders than us, and I'll also say this. There's not a channel out there. There's not a person. There's not a team out there that does commitment to excellence around the Las Vegas Raiders. I know there's a lot of great content creators, but I'm sorry. I'll stand 10 toes on that. Nobody is close to us. I don't know about that. Drew, call Aaron Donald, $50 million a year. What's next? Here's the problem. You got to trade for him. He's still under contract with the Los Angeles Rams because when he retired, so you would have to make a deal with the Rams. And for those of you that are watching this show right now, I mean, there's going to be names that I talk about. I think the most obvious name is Quinton Jefferson. The Raiders worked out Jefferson a few days ago. He was somebody that was on this team back in 2019. I think another name that I'm calling, I'm picking up the phone, I'm calling the Baltimore Ravens, and I said, hey, I want John Jenkins back on this squad. I'll give you a 7th-round pick in 2026. I was just talking to John the other day, and I'm not saying he's not happy in Baltimore, but Jenkins thought he was coming back to Las Vegas, and he would love an opportunity to come back and play for the Raiders. I'm not saying he's not happy in Baltimore. I'd pick up the phone, I'd call John Jenkins. You could go out and potentially sign Quinton Jefferson, but if you actually really, truly want to sign the guy that I want the Raiders to sign, Jadeveon Clowney. I know he's not a DT, but he plays this defensive end, defensive tackle tweener role, which you've seen the Raiders go out and get in a J.J. Pegues and a Tonka Hemingway. What up, Nab, man? Nobody's above the shield. Cool, you don't belong. And I think that's what I'm going to say here with Wilkins. And it's hard for me because I know Wilkins loves football. And I know that I was super fired up when this deal ended up happening. But if the Raiders medical staff told him, and they did, you need another surgery, and you don't want to have another surgery, I think you got to be able to face the ramifications of that, because what's really frustrating about the Wilkins situation is, you know, you're in a walking boot, and you had surgery back on October 5th, 2024. Jones fractures take usually about 3 to 4 months for somebody that is the size and the athlete that Wilkins is. We're still sitting here on July 24th not knowing exactly what's going on with Wilkins. He's walking around a boot. He's in the Kyle Van Noy charity golf event in a boot, but just 2 days ago, he's dancing around in the Raiders locker room in Crocs. I think you could see by the Raiders message that they put out by the team that they were very, very frustrated in Wilkins, and who knows? I say this all the time. Money changes people. Did Christian Wilkins just get lazy and not want to not do what it was going to be required to be an NFL player because of all the guaranteed money that he got? I think when time and time again you see shit like this happen, really, really frustrating. What up, Scoob? Mitch, real quick, why did he not want to get the surgery? I don't know that answer. All I was told back again a month ago, go check out the video, was that the Raiders medical staff told him that he needed another surgery. He didn't want to get another surgery because if he did, he was going to miss the entire season. So he thought he was going to be able to play through it and get out on the field. But again, you have a medical team. You have a staff of doctors. And if they tell you to do that, you should go ahead and do it. I think what's frustrating is, again, this has been going on for months and months and months, and we have not been able to get a clear-cut answer on it. And then the Raiders finally said, cool, if you're not going to listen and you're not going to follow with what we do, if you think that you're better than this organization, if you think that you're smarter than our doctors, deuces. We're not going to give you the remaining contract. And I'll tell you this right now. I hope the Raiders obviously win this. I want to save the extra money that we can because we basically paid Christian Wilkins $57.5 million to play 5 games for the Raiders. There's a lot of hardworking men and women that are watching this show right now. And I'll tell you this right now, Wilkins, the fact that you stole that amount of money, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I hate saying that because I love this freaking move, but damn it, it pisses me off when guys get the opportunities that you do and you're just taking advantage of it. It's shameful. Shameful, shameful. Ed Robbins, Mitch, what about getting Jenkins back from Baltimore? I would do it in a heartbeat, man. I would pick up the phone, I would call the Baltimore Ravens, and I would say, 7th-round pick for John Jenkins, a player who is a solid veteran. I get it, he's 35 years old, but he was really solid the past 2 years, built a great relationship with Max Crosby, built a great relationship with Rob Leonard, built a great relationship with Adam Butler from their time together with the Miami Dolphins. Ryan Campbell. Bang! Wilkins was a disgrace of the contract. Honestly, I hope people learn that money doesn't buy championships. Also, this shows people just want the money and don't really care to actually play because Wilkins would have gotten the surgery. Campbell, I kind of agree with you. And, I remember a few years ago when I sat down and I talked to Jonathan Hankins and I said, I hate guaranteed contracts. I don't understand how in today's day and age, like, don't get me wrong, players deserve some guaranteed money, but we need to get contracts with more incentives. There's too many guys in the NBA, too many guys in the MLB, too many guys in the NFL that get this guaranteed money, put their feet up on the couch, and it doesn't matter. Imagine you, everybody sitting at home right now, to the over 2,300 people that are watching the show. Imagine if you got a raise at your job, the highest raise you have ever gotten in your job, and it didn't matter your level of production. It's not real life, and that's what bothers me sometimes about this money. You're getting generational wealth for you and for families and families to come, and you take advantage of it. Listen to your medical staff. You're not above the shield. Let's go to Ghost of the Navigator. Better this happening now, next man up. I don't agree with that. I think if you were the Raiders, you should have done this before the NFL draft, right? Like, if this whole thing was going to happen, it should have happened before March because that's where we would have had a little bit more information of exactly what was going on with this. Then you would have been able to address free agency differently. You would have been able to address the draft differently. You would have been able to go about your entire offseason, I think, a little bit differently. Luckily, the Raiders still have a lot of money in salary cap where they can go out and they could bring in a potential guy. But to say that it's better that this is happening now, I agree it's next man up. But this is a really shitty situation if you're a Raiders fan because a healthy Wilkins made us have one of the best defensive lines in the National Football League, if we're being 100% honest. Let's go to my man Rich Wolf. Hiring McDaniels was the worst move ever in the history, in my opinion. I mean, McDaniels has absolutely nothing to do with Christian Wilkins, but I'm also not going to totally disagree with you because I did not like McDaniels. Oh, he's going back to was it the worst signing of all time. I mean, I knew Josh McDaniels was going to fail because he's not a leader of men. But at the same time, I really thought that this Wilkins deal was going to happen. What up, Gannon? Do we pursue Trey Hendrickson now? I don't see why we would. I think Hendrickson is obviously an edge, but that's $30 million. And, that's just not somebody that I want to go out and get. Since we hopefully will have some leftover money now, we are shifting Wilson to defensive tackle. Tyree's going to play defensive tackle. He's going to play defensive end. I said literally today when we were live earlier on the show that he's been trying to add 10 to 15 pounds to bulk up a little bit to go play there on the interior. If the Bengals don't want to pay him, and if you told me, hey, I can go out and get Trey Hendrickson for like a 4th-round pick or something like that, I'm on board. I just do think that he is one of the more overrated players in the NFL because he's had 17.5 sacks. He's a good player. He's just not good against the run. He's not as good against the run to pay him that amount of money. And I would say this, to everybody that thinks Trey Hendrickson is this, unbelievable player, he is obviously very good to get that amount of sacks. But what would you say to people when they're like, oh, Max Crosby isn't very good because he doesn't have the amount of sack numbers? Sometimes numbers are just very skewed. Max is light years better of a player than what Trey Hendrickson is, and I get it. He doesn't have the exact same numbers. Hendrickson has better numbers. Santiago, what up, man? We've known about this for about a month now. Real one for life, Santiago, real one. Raiders been planning life without him, but to just release him with no trade with the comments stated about him, little bit of a loss on this. I mean, to me, this is a breakup where if you look at the comments that the Raiders just put out on Christian Wilkins, they're not happy with Wilkins. Quite frankly, I think they kind of ripped him a new one. And you don't always see that happen from time to time. Chugs, if you could show what the Raiders said here real quick. But I also would have liked at least a trade. But the problem is no team is going to trade for a player that's not going to be able to pass a physical. And that's why he was on the PUP list, because he wasn't able to pass a physical. But, I mean, look what the Raiders said. We have decided that it's in the best interest of the organization to move on from Christian Wilkins, and he has been informed of his release from the team. This franchise has a commitment to excellence on and off the field with no clear path or plan for the future return from Christian Wilkins. I mean, I'll read between the lines if you want. The Raiders just looked at Christian Wilkins and they said, you don't have commitment to excellence. To me, that's how I read that. You can tell me however you want to read it, however you want. I look at that and I go, we just gave you $57.5 million, and you don't have the decency to take our medical staff into consideration. We believe that you need another surgery, but you think that you're smarter than our doctors. That's not commitment to excellence. And if you're just going to take the guaranteed money and wipe your ass with it because you don't give a shit whether or not you play, then we're going to move on from you. And that's exactly what the Las Vegas Raiders did. Look at what's circled at the bottom. Commitment to excellence. The Raiders are making a statement. They are trying to tell all of y'all, Christian Wilkins did not have commitment to excellence. That is why we are moving on from him. And quite frankly, when you see how this situation is gone, and it sucks that Wilkins got the injury. He did not get the injury while he was celebrating the sack. I do want to make that very, very clear. But the whole situation for the past 4-5 months has been a big old question mark. No information out of that all. But what really grinds my gears is it didn't really look like Wilkins was all that bothered by it. Darian, hell of a breaking news from getting out of the shower. What does this do to our cap? What now with Clowney? I'll be transparent. I don't exactly know what it does to the cap, and I don't know if you're going to know that answer yet because the Raiders, because they moved on from Wilkins, there's a grievance being filed by Wilkins' team because right now the Raiders are trying to save the $32.5 million essentially that is remaining on the contract, and this is going to be an ongoing battle. Like, it just simply is. There's going to be a lot of ins and outs around this situation, but in terms of the exact cap space, I don't have an exact number yet in terms of the cap space, and I don't know if that we're gonna. So, Tashawn Reed said Wilkins originally received a $24 million signing bonus, but the Raiders also restructured a $20.5 million roster bonus into another signing bonus in March to create cap space. That total prorated amount comes out to $9.925 million through 2028. So, essentially what that means is I talked about it a few times where the Raiders already restructured Christian Wilkins' contract. So if you go to Over the Cap, if you go to Spotrac, you're going to see that void year. I guarantee you that void year is $9.925 million, which is what the Raiders would have had to pay him in 2028. Because of that 4-year, $110 million deal, he was on the books for 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027. That 2028 season is that prorated deal, and I think the Raiders are trying to get that money back. So this is going to be an ongoing situation. Las Vegas feels like that they were done dirty. And when you hear more and more of the details that are coming out, and then when I look at what I was told last month, I kind of look at this as Christian Wilkins kind of did the Raiders a little bit dirty, and he thought that he was above the shield, and he thought he was above the medical staff, where he wasn't going to go out there and need another surgery. The Raiders have been asking Wilkins, though, for months to get another surgery. But y'all would have already known that if you were subscribed to the Raiders Report. What up, Hella High? I understand why, but still was a big fan of Christian. Why not trade for Jenkins or long shot Micah Parsons? I know Micah and Max are boys, and like they're actually very, very good friends. I just think the problem is by trading for Micah Parsons, you're going to have to give up probably like 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick. And then you're going to have to pay him probably $42 million. Like, I love me some Micah Parsons, but I just think you have to give up way, way too much to go out and get him. Or you give up a 7th-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, you go get yourself a John Jenkins. Let's go to YD. Do you think Trent Brown is a worse signing? To be honest, I don't know if he is. Like, Trent Brown was brought in. They gave him about $16.5 million. I remember because I would talk about it over and over and over again. The Raiders technically paid Trent Brown $76,000 per snap. Like, it's insanity, but it's the truth. Also, Trent Brown's contract wasn't as big as the Wilkins deal, but I'm going to look at the Christian Wilkins deal very similar to the way that I'm going to look at the Trent Brown deal, and a guy that it's frustrating. I don't know. I'll just say it like that, man. It's very frustrating. What up, Luke? Antonio was the worst. Antonio wasn't a signing. Antonio was a trade. If I remember correctly, the Raiders traded a 3rd and a 5th-round pick for Antonio Brown. Sure, they gave him some money, but the Raiders were also able to recoup a lot of that money because Antonio Brown was a psychopath with the cryotherapy, with all the other bullshit that he did, and they were able to do it for conduct detrimental to the team. I don't know the exact verbiage from a contract, but the Raiders were able to get a lot of that money back because Antonio Brown was conduct detrimental to the team. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can look up Antonio Brown Raiders conduct detrimental to the team. What up, Daniel Owens? Bachman put on notice, and Snowden better take notes. No more of this bullshit. Carroll and Crosby are locked in. And I think, again, the Raiders made a clear statement. Christian Wilkins didn't have commitment to excellence. We're not going to be dealing around with this bullshit. But I don't know why Bachman's going to be put on notice. I guess because he was the one that posted Christian Wilkins dancing around in Crocs. And honestly, if I was a part of the Raiders organization, and I said it live on this show, I would have said that would have pissed me off. For a player who's not able to go out there and practice, but you're dancing around in the training staff room in Crocs, I don't know. I think that's kind of a shame on you. And Charles Snowden, we don't have this update on him yet, but he did have a court case on July 22nd for a DUI case that he had on December. He had the DUI, December 10th, 2024? We got to clean it up off the field if we want to be great on the field. What up, Quinn? This sucks, but saw this coming. Fat linemen with foot injuries don't mix well. No one is above the shield. I knew what Wilkins was dealing with, and I knew what the Raiders were dealing with, but I'm not going to sit up here and act like I expected this. I really thought that this was going to be a player that was going to be a solid pillar player on this team for, many, many years to come. And I'm thinking about one of the videos that I had scheduled over the weekend where it's like ESPN kind of talking about the strengths of the Raiders, the weakness of the Raiders, players to keep an eye on and what have you. You guys are, I don't even know if I can still do that video. We might have to cut it up at this point, but the Raiders I thought the defensive line was going to be the strongest point of this team. And I'll be real. I'm happy the Raiders did this because from what it sounds like, Wilkins thought he was better than the Raiders. But at the same time, it's a huge kick in the nuts of this team. I don't know how you say it besides that. Coming up here on the show, we are now going to go through. I know we got some more Super Chats to get to. I'm just going to be very transparent with the amount of Super Chats that we have. If you want to get up on the show, the only way that that's going to happen is with a Super Chat. I'm going to be breaking down everything there is to know around Christian Wilkins for the next 15, 20 minutes or so. That's going to be a segment. And then in 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour from now, I don't know how long, I'm also going to get you guys another video. Christian Wilkins replacements coming up here on the Raiders Report. Here we go. Bombshell breaking news. The Las Vegas Raiders are moving on from Christian Wilkins after signing him just last offseason to a 4-year, $110 million contract with $57.5 million guaranteed. My name is Mitchell Renz. You're watching the Raiders Report, and I'll just say it like this. If you would have been subscribed to this channel, you would have known everything already going on. A month ago, I reported Christian Wilkins needs another surgery, but he doesn't want to have it. The Raiders think that he needs to have it. That is why this release has ended up going down. If you're a real one and you're already subscribed to the channel and you already knew everything going on with Christian Wilkins, spam RO4L down below because I put a lot of time. I put a lot of effort into the show. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I'm an insider. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I got all this sources. But when I do get somebody that reaches out to me, I'm a Raiders fan just like all of y'all. And when I get information, I share it with Raider Nation. So I hope to everybody out there that thought I was crazy, to everyone out there that called me names, I hope that you see that we put a lot of time and effort into the show. We have commitment to excellence, and I hope that you subscribe because this channel is, I'm telling you, putting in the time and the effort. Today's show, though, is presented by Panda Sups. If you're trying to get into the best shape of your life, Wilkins, maybe you should go to pandasups.com. Maybe you should use code Raiders for 20% off. And if you spend over $125, we're going to give you free creatine and free shipping if you live in the United States. So here is why the Raiders have decided to cut him. Wilkins needed a second surgery, and his 2025 season was up in the air. And because Pete Carroll and John Spytek were tired of sitting around wondering what Wilkins was going to do, they decided to move on from him. He's been in and out of a walking boot all offseason from the surgery that he had for a Jones fracture on October 5th, 2024. Typically, Jones fractures take 3 to 4 months for somebody that is the size and athlete that Wilkins is. We're going on 9 months right now. He hasn't practiced this offseason. Now, he showed up from time to time at mini camp, non-mandatory things, But what's really going to be interesting about this, and I know for a fact when people tune into the show, probably the number one question they're going to ask is, well, what exactly now happens with the money? Ian Rappaport says the Raiders are moving on from Wilkins, the former prize of free agency, just after one season of a 5-year, $110 million deal. Just so you guys are clear, it was a 4-year deal, not 100. It was not a 5. I think Rappaport is actually getting confused because the Raiders have already restructured Wilkins' contract once. So if you go to Over the Cap or Spotrac, you're going to see 2028. It's a void year for $9.9 million. But they gave him $57.5 million fully guaranteed. The Raiders paid Christian Wilkins $57.5 million for 5 flipping games. The Raiders and Wilkins have had an ongoing dispute over his foot and whether or not to have surgery. The team wanted him to. He declined after several opinions. Now released, there is also expected to be a fight over the guaranteed money. Adam Schefter also chiming in. With the Raiders voiding the remaining $35.2 million of his guaranteed money left on Wilkins' contract last month, and Wilkins filing a grievance with the NFLPA today, this is a situation that is far from over. Deshaun Reed also now chiming in. If the Raiders' voiding of his guarantees holds, they will be on the hook for his prorated signing bonus. So I know a lot of people are going to be asking about the exact salary cap. We're probably not going to know this situation for salary cap for a few days, I would guess. But Wilkins originally received a $24 million signing bonus, but the Raiders also restructured a $20.5 million roster bonus into another signing bonus in March to create cap space. That is why you're seeing that void year of 2028 at the $9.25 million in that contract. I mean, this is a shitty situation, but I got to ask you all because this is my job here. And Chugs and I, we were getting ready. We actually got a 3-day weekend here at Chat Sports, but I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I rock with Raider Nation. I got a full leg sleeve tatted. I bleed silver and black, and I'm a normal person just like you that I want to be able to vent my frustrations because I know to the over 3,000 people that are watching the show right now, I'm freaking frustrated because I thought Wilkins was going to help us achieve something great. So let me know down below, what is your one-word reaction to the Raiders releasing Christian Wilkins? My one word is coming up after this YouTube ad break. Pissed. I am pissed off at Wilkins. I am honestly pissed off at this entire situation. What is happening from July, from June, from May, from April? Why don't we have a clear situation on this? Why does Christian Wilkins think that he's smarter than the Raiders medical staff? If a doctor came up to me and said, hey, Mitch, you got to get this done, I'd probably sit there and go, all right, yeah, I'll probably get that done. I don't understand how the Raiders medical team, who, by the way, is one of the best medical professionals in the entire world. People who work in the NFL are some of the best medical professionals in the world. And you think that you know more than them? I get you want to understand your body. But if a medical professional told me to get this done, I'm going to do it. Especially if an organization gave me the amount of guaranteed dollars and the amount of, we'll call it patience, that the Raiders have given Christian Wilkins. But here's the problem. You took advantage of it. And when you look at what the Raiders said, I think that this is a clear divorce, that the Raiders have a high expectation. I have a high expectation. You have a high expectation. If you're going to rock Raiders, if you're going to rock silver and black, if you're going to rock that shield, it comes with pride. And you weren't wearing it proudly. Look at what the Raiders had to say here. And look what they circled right here. This is a clear message to Wilkins and his team of saying, hey, if you're not going to bring commitment to excellence, we're going to move on from you. We have decided that it is in the best interest of the organization to move on from Christian Wilkins, and he has been informed of his release from the team. This franchise has a commitment to excellence on and off the field. That is a direct shot at Wilkins saying you don't have commitment to excellence on and off the field. With no clear path or plan for future return to play from Wilkins, this transaction is necessary for the entire organization to move forward and prepare for the new season. I thought the Wilkins deal was going to work. And I honestly feel like this is a huge kick in the nuts for what I was hoping this defensive line could look like. But you know what? I'm hoping Tyree Wilson takes a step up. I'm hoping Tonka Hemingway, J.J. Pegues, John Ulalu, Zachary Carter. I'm hoping Max Crosby, Malcolm Koonce. I hope every single player that is on that Las Vegas Raiders team goes, Wilkins was a good guy, but if you don't want to suit up with your brothers, if you don't want to go to battle with the guys that are putting their blood, sweat, and tears out there every single day, then I don't want you on this freaking team. That is the opposite of the compete mentality. So coming up next here on the show, we're going to talk about what this defensive line looks like now from a depth chart standpoint. And to everybody that is just tuning in right now, I appreciate each and every one of y'all because, like I said, I am also fired up about this. But at the exact same time, there is no player that is above the shield, and I will stand 10 toes on that, and I'll say that I was very wrong saying that the Christian Wilkins deal was going to be a great one. Here's also a great deal for the nation that is out there. Panda Sups is the proud sponsor of today's show, and if you use code Raiders, you're going to be able to save 20% off at pandasups.com. They got a brand new premium whey isolate protein. Sorry for the burp. We were chugging beers in our Raiders-Chiefs Madden simulation. Go check it out. We were live for 3+ hours just an hour ago. If you want to get some peanut butter cookie flavored protein, this stuff slaps. Like, I'm somebody that has a sweet tooth. I'm somebody that loves a good cheat day. Feels like every cheat day when I'm eating Panda Sups. If you got a Ninja Creamy, Ninja's not a sponsor, but if you want to be Ninja, hit me up. This is the perfect protein to put in a Ninja Creamy. We got chocolate brownie. We got toasted graham. 25 grams of protein. 110, 120 grams of, not grams. 110, 120 calories. 0 grams of added sugar. It is the best tasting protein on the market, and you guys can have it by using code Raiders at 20% off at pandasups.com. That link is going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show, and it is owned and operated by a die-hard Raiders fan. So if you believe in supporting your own, then go support your own. So as it stands right now, after the Raiders have decided to move on from Christian Wilkins, this is what the Raiders' defensive depth chart looks like. Lecky Fotu was getting a lot of the first-team reps, and they were getting a lot of the work early. Zach Carter, I think, is another name to potentially keep an eye on. The Raiders highly, highly value Adam Butler. Brought him back on a 3-year, $16.5 million deal. John Ulalu, also somebody that you're going to have to keep an eye on. The Silver and Black drafted J.J. Pegues. They drafted Tonka Hemingway this past year, and it's going to be a collective effort. But you know what? It's also going to be a collective effort from these guys on screen. We know Max Crosby's going to bring that dog mentality, and we know that Mad Max is going to be that guy. But I also need now Malcolm to take that next step. I need a Charles Snowden to take that next step. Tyree Wilson, he's been working at defensive end and defensive tackle, has had back-to-back great training camp practices, and I recently spoke to somebody close to Wilson's team, and they told me that he's trying to bulk up. The number I was given was 10 to 15 pounds. That's what Wilson is trying to put on, and maybe he already knew the assignment. Maybe he knew that the Raiders were going to put him in the interior. And, you know, you've seen Patrick Graham, the Silver and Black. They clearly value versatility, and Tyree Wilson is this tweener type of player. Tonka Hemingway, tweener type of player. I think even when you look at a J.J. Pegues, he's played a little bit of defensive end, defensive tackle as well. The Raiders clearly value versatility, and they clearly value being able to go out there and win the trenches. For a guy entering his 3rd year, I'm telling y'all this right now, if you want to forget about Christian Wilkins, if Tyree takes that next step, if you bleed Silver and Black, one of the top players that you're hoping lives up to that number 7 overall pick, and it's basically a contract year for him. Because if he goes out there and he dominates this season, he's going to have a hefty, hefty payday. Because, reminder, 5th-year option for first-round picks. So, again, I decided to go live here for the breaking news of Christian Wilkins, and this is a card that I put in the video, which, again, if you haven't seen the video that I did back in June, I think it was June 21st, if I had to remind myself correctly, this is a note that I had. He underwent surgery to repair a Jones fracture in his left foot on October 5th, I believe, 2024. Wilkins needs another surgery, but he did not want to have it. And another surgery equaled that he was going to be out for the season. When I was told that, and again, I was getting ready to go live on the Raiders Report, and I had a source reach out to me. You know who you are. You just texted me a few minutes ago. And, you know, they were like, hey, man, this is really bad news. The Raiders want him to have another surgery, but Wilkins doesn't want to have another surgery because he's afraid that he's going to be out for the entire year. To Jordan Schultz, I wish you would have taken this story earlier. I tried to tell you a month ago, but maybe you'll start listening to me a little bit more now. It's just a really frustrating situation from Raiders fans. It's just a really frustrating situation in general because I think that a lot of this could have been avoided. I think if Christian Wilkins would have just swallowed a humble pill a few months ago, would have listened to the Raiders medical staff, would have got the surgery like they asked him to do, and if he would have rehabbed in a proper way, like if he would have got the surgery, based on what I was told, the Raiders were trying to get him to have surgery like months ago. Now, I don't know if they told him in March, April, or May. That I am not very clear about, but I do know that they were encouraging him to have the surgery before I put out my video on June like 21st. If he would have had the surgery, let's say back in May, then you would have been able to recover. You put him on the PUP list. He misses the first 4 weeks, and then you're ready to rock and roll week 5 when the Raiders go up against the Indianapolis Colts. This, though, because Wilkins has been moved on from, the Las Vegas Raiders do have an open roster spot. And the video that y'all are going to get tomorrow on the Raiders Report is going to be around some Christian Wilkins replacements. Maybe it's a trade. Maybe it's a free agent signing. Or maybe the Raiders just look at the guys on their defensive line and they go, one of y'all are going to have to step up. But the Silver and Black have 90 players on their roster. They're allowed to have 91 because they have Laki Tassi, the International Pathway Program player. I expect the Raiders to make a move, and I expect them to do something probably in the next day, 2-3 days. The good news is this. When the Raiders do decide to make that move, I'm going to make a video on it. Christian Wilkins might not have commitment to excellence, and Christian Wilkins might get called out by the Raiders. But you know what? I got commitment to excellence. Y'all got commitment to excellence. And when the Raiders do decide to make that move, I'm going to be here. I'm going to drop that video. I'm going to put it on Instagram. I'm going to put it on Twitter. Why? I bleed silver and black just like all of y'all. I put my pants on the same way, just like all of y'all. And when the Raiders do something, and when somebody takes advantage of the silver and black, I feel a type of way. I'm an emotional person because I do everything I can for this organization. So Mark Davis, to all the Raiders people out there, if you need somebody to hold it down for you, I know you've been hiring a lot of people, give me and Jeremy Chugs a call. We got commitment to excellence. So what is your confidence level in the Raiders defensive line without Wilkins? Scale it from 1 to 10. 1, you're not confident at all. 10, you ain't even worried about Christian Wilkins. We're going to let some of the votes come in here. We're going to give some shout-outs here on today's show, and Jeremy and I are going to be hanging out, answering questions, rocking with the nation for as long as y'all want us to rock with. But luckily for you, we're also going to do some Christian Wilkins replacements coming up here a little bit later on today's show. But I do also want to give a special shout-out to the MVPs, our YouTube top fans. This is a brand new feature that YouTube has just launched in the last day or two, and it's a good opportunity to give y'all the love that you deserve. We know that we got Violator. We know we got Gorilla Rilla. We know that we got Senior. We call them super fans, and they stick out when they're at a Raiders game. I almost look at our super fans here at Chat Sports, our super fans here at the Raiders Report, are the people that try to wear that crown. So to Ryan Campbell right now, to Luke, to Ghost, I see you. I want to salute you. But you know what? If you're like Mitch, I want to be up on that board as well. If you can't super chat, you can comment. You actually will gain XP points. If you do want to climb that leaderboard, if you super chat, you climb the leaderboard. If some people are always like, why do people super chat you? You honestly want to know why I think people super chat me? Because I think it's like a tip. When you go to a restaurant, when you go to your bar, do you tip your bartender? Do you tip your host? I would hope that you do, right? And I think that people know the amount of time, the amount of effort, the amount of hours that we put into the show and the product that we've put. There's a reason why we've been the #1 most watched Raiders channel in the world for the last 7 years. It's because we have commitment to excellence. And I hope that people know that you will become a smarter Raiders fan by watching the show. Because quite frankly, there's not a single Raiders beat reporter. There's not a single Raiders YouTuber out there. There's not anybody from ESPN, NFL Network that knows more about this team than Chugs and I do. And I will say that to the end of the world and back, and I hope that people that watch this show realize that. Watch it for a week. If you don't learn anything, go subscribe somewhere else. What up, LI Raider? This new regime looks legit, not clowning around. All BS is off the table. And I respect that mindset. You know what I mean? Like, if guys are going to make millions upon millions of dollars, and if you're not going to wear that jersey with some love and respect, give it to somebody that actually wants to wear the jersey. And I'm so irritated by this whole situation because I feel like it could have been avoided. You know, like if Wilkins would have just listened to the medical staff, has the other surgery, if God forbid he would have missed another year, and it sounds like, again, based on the sources that I talked to last month, that he was going to have to end up missing the season, which would have sucked. But I also think that this regime's window is 2026, 2027, and Wilkins was on the books for a lot of money. I get it. It was like over $30 million. But I think because the Raiders are doing what they're doing and they feel like that they've been done wrong by Wilkins, what they're going to do is they're going to submit their results to the NFL, to the NFLPA, and they're going to go, our medical staff said this. Christian Wilkins decided not to do it. That's conduct detrimental to the team, as far as I'm concerned. And I think that the Raiders are going to get off. I think Christian Wilkins is going to realize that he made the wrong decision, and he's going to be out millions upon millions of dollars. Now, don't get me wrong. He's already gotten a bunch of money, but I hope that he realizes that when you try to screw over a franchise, bad things are going to happen to you. What up, YD? Do you think Trent Brown was a worse signing? I don't even know. Trent Brown got $76,000 per snap, and I hate the fact that we're even mentioning Trent Brown and Christian Wilkins in the same sentence. It makes me sick to my stomach because of how excited I was for Wilkins. And I think that's one of the hard parts about when you do this job, and I think for people that party on this show, right? Remember the Devontae Adams trade? We went live for 10 hours. But you know what? I think when you do finally start winning, it makes it so much more worth it. And just like when the Raiders fired Josh McDaniels, we went live for 26 straight hours on this channel. The problem, you know why it's not on YouTube? Because YouTube can't save a 24 straight hour stream, which we had to learn the hard way. But how many people were here during that 26 hours? I know a few of you rocked with us. But that's what I'm talking about, commitment to excellence. If players don't have that type of commitment to excellence after getting $57.5 million, I don't want you on my team. And I mean that. Like, I don't want you on my team if $57.5 million isn't good enough for you to listen to the team that paid you all that money. Get the frick out of here, Wilkins. Raider Shield family, Adam Butler, here's your chance to roll. And I hope that he does. I think Adam Butler is one of the most underappreciated players on the Raiders. He was my number one free agent that I wanted the Raiders to bring back. And I'll say it again. I wanted the Raiders to bring back Adam Butler more than Robert Spillane, more than Trevon Merrick, more than Nate Hobbs. Not saying that those three other players weren't spectacular. Of course they are. But based on the value and based on the production and based on the idea of making everybody else around you, Adam Butler was brought in to make Tyree Wilson better, to make Malcolm Kuntz better, to make Max Crosby better. That's what Adam Butler does. Adam Butler is an unselfish player, and I thought Christian Wilkins was too. What's up, Oscar? Do we go or lose money from cutting him? I mean, technically the answer is yes. We've already lost so much money, but in terms of the amount of money that the Raiders are fighting for, right now the Raiders are voiding the remaining $35.2 million of the guaranteed money left on Wilkins' contract. And Wilkins is going to file a grievance with the NFLPA today. But also, the NFLPA has got some issues going on right now with their whole situation as well. Yeah, they don't have a president, right? J.C. Treader, he decided to step down. But, I think the Raiders have made their statement very, very clear that they feel like they've done wrong by Christian Wilkins. And it's why they decided to put out the statement that they did. And, again, I'm kind of happy that the Raiders, yeah. Let's go to Carter Harlow. It sucks, but it's a business. I trust the Raiders in the decisions made this offseason so far. And I think if you're the Raiders, it is just one of those situations where it is a business. But at the exact same time, it is what it is. Sorry. I got an insider messaging me right now. No, you're good. You're good. It is a business, right? And I think that we always have to remember that it is the business for players. But that doesn't mean it has to be a business for us. Like, I think one of my biggest pet peeves that people say is, oh, Mitch isn't a Raiders fan. He just does this on YouTube. I think everyone also got to remember I started the YouTube channel with 0 subs, right? Like, we all start somewhere. And I get now we're the biggest Raiders show in the world. And I'm very appreciative of that. But I care about this team. And it's not a business to me. It's not a business to all of you. And I think that's where this emotion comes from, and I hope people see that. Let's go to Ben Bailey. What up, man? I got you. Schefter also just put one in here. It said the NFLPA had 50 days to file a grievance on behalf of Christian Wilkins after the Raiders voided $35.25 million worth of the guaranteed money in his contract. So here's what's interesting. They are saying, can you get that Schefter tweet that he just put out? So this is what Schefter just said. The NFLPA had 50 days to file a grievance on behalf of Christian Wilkins after the Raiders voided $35.25 million worth of his contract on June 4th. So it sounds like the Raiders and Christian Wilkins, this whole situation, started around June 4th. $8 million for this year, which was $27.25 million for next year. The grievance was filed this morning. A legal battle awaits. So, again, we're about to get into a legal battle here, but the Raiders filed this grievance, and this is what's crazy because I was not told this back when I did the video that I did. I think it just also goes to show you that, this was kind of swept underneath the rug here a little bit, where June 4th is when the Raiders voided $35.25 million. There wasn't a single Raiders insider that reported that. Adam Schefter did not report it, and Rappaport did not report it. Nobody reported on this, so it was pretty swept underneath the rug by the Silver and Black. But, man. And now Tashawn Reed is reporting, during the offseason, the Raiders determined that defensive tackle Christian Wilkins needed another procedure in order for his left foot to heal per source. Wilkins disagreed, sparking a dispute that ultimately led to his release today. So, again, that is everything that we reported last month. That is everything that we talked about here on the Raiders Report. And if you would have followed and subscribed to the show, you would have already known that that happened. So here's what the tweet that I was trying to go through here with Schefter, which Schefter is saying the NFLPA had 50 days to file a grievance on behalf of Christian Wilkins after the Raiders voided $35.25 million worth of his contract money on June 4th. So the Raiders did this, or at least started this process on June 4th. I find that to be very, very interesting. I don't know about y'all. I find that to be very interesting. Here's also what I find interesting. We got 2,000 people watching this show right now. Only 834 likes. If you feel like Christian Wilkins did the Raiders dirty, I want you to hit that like button. If you knew about this information a month ago because you're a real one and you subscribe to the Raiders Report, hit that like button. Again, I want to be very crystal clear. I am not an insider. I am not a beat reporter. But I am a Raiders fan that I hope that y'all understand. I got a lot of connections to agents. I got a lot of connections to a lot of players out there. Why? We run a really popular Raiders show. I don't even think it's that hard of math. But when I get information, I share it with you guys because I always sit back, and the way that I do this show is, would a Raiders fan care about the information that I have? If the answer to that is yes, I'm going to make a video about it. I don't care if Rappaport doesn't talk about it. I don't care if Schefter hasn't talked about it. I don't care if Vincent Bonsignor, Tashawn Reed, whatever insert beat reporter's name hasn't talked about it. I'm going to talk about it because I'll say this. I have worked my ass off. Chugs has worked his ass off to get to where we are now, and I hope that people, when they see videos like this, they understand that I'm not just throwing it out there for clicks, for clickbait. We're putting it out there because it's information that we've been told. So I hope that people start hitting that subscribe button. Very, very interesting situation here unfolding again. The breaking news is this. The Las Vegas Raiders are moving on from Christian Wilkins. He has been released from the organization. Right now there's going to be some sort of file. There's going to be a lawsuit between the Raiders and Wilkins. But from what it sounds like is this. Wilkins did not have commitment to excellence. Not only did the Raiders circle it, they also put it in here. This franchise has a commitment to excellence on and off the field. And Christian Wilkins did not have a plan. Because he didn't have a plan, deuces. Robert Garcia, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to be breaking down everything there is to know about Christian Wilkins and this entire situation. We're going to answer some questions here. But, Chugs, if you could also hop on, I just want to tweet out the video that that Cullen just sent me. Yep.
All right, so just to recap for maybe people who weren't here for the very beginning of it. Basically, Christian Wilkins underwent surgery to repair a Jones fracture in his left foot on October 5th, 2024. We obviously know he got injured during the beginning of last season. Wilkins was told he needed another surgery, but he did not want to have it. He elected saying, hey, I don't want to have a surgery. I'd rather play through it. And the Raiders sat there and said, hey, we have all this guaranteed money in you. If you're going to go out there and try to play through this injury, we don't feel like that's in our best interest or your best interest. And that lies the crux of the problem. The Raiders said, we want you to have the surgery. We want to make sure you're okay, even if that means you sitting out this season. Wilkins said, hell no. I don't want to have the surgery. I'd rather just play through it, try to play through this season, and have another surgery at the end of the year. The Raiders medical staff, Christian Wilkins and his team, butting heads on this exact issue. Should Wilkins have another surgery? I don't know if it's going to be Christian Wilkins signs with another team, if another team is even willing to take that risk on a Christian Wilkins. I can tell you this, I can't think of a single team in the NFL that would be willing to give Wilkins half of what the Raiders offered him in this past deal to play this season. I don't see how another team is willing to do that with a guy who hasn't practiced all offseason, has been on and off of a walking boot all season. We have tons of quotes from doctors. Where are they at? We have doctors Deepak Chona and Nav Singh Badesha, two doctors who Mitch actually reached out to, and they both came to the same conclusion of, yeah, Wilkins probably should have, in their medical opinions, Wilkins should have surgery to fix that Jones fracture. He obviously didn't feel that way. So I'm going to ask y'all folks at home right now, do the Raiders need to make a move? Do the Raiders need to make another move? Or are you comfortable with what they have? Let me know down in the comment section, yes or no. Do the Raiders need to make another move? Appreciate the help, Colin. Let's see. We have Blinky says no. Luda says yes. Curtis says yes. Dion says yes. Coming up in a little bit, we're going to break down the replacements on the Raiders roster, some guys that maybe the Raiders could end up trading for, and even though it's not a great list, the remaining free agents that could be a possibility for the Las Vegas Raiders to end up replacing Christian Wilkins. And if you're just joining us right now, we are 4 likes away from 1,000 likes. Go down and hit that thumbs up icon right now. Go down and hit it, because who was the first to go live after this news? I guarantee you it was the Raiders Report. Who was telling you about Christian Wilkins a month ago that he needed another surgery? Exactly what the rest of the NFL world is learning today. It's the Raiders Report. So go down, hit that thumbs up icon. Make sure you're subscribed. Turn on those notifications, because nobody else on this planet brings you the most up-to-date Raiders news as soon as we do, when we do. And Mitchell Renz, here we go. We're back.
Oh, thank you for holding it down. Do the Raiders need to make another move? They have to, right? I mean, you have an open roster spot. If you're the silver and black, you got to go out and you got to take advantage of it. And I say that because you're only in your second day of training camp. And I think a name to definitely monitor right now is Quinton Jefferson. They brought him in on a visit. Was that Tuesday when it was like all those 9 moves that ended up happening?
Yeah.
Quinton Jefferson is going to be an obvious name to keep in mind. But here's the thing. There's a lot of other names that I think Raider fans need to just keep in the back of your mind. Relationships matter. Connections matter. That's how this team is being built right now. And, you know, you look at a guy like Jamal Adams, connection to Pete Carroll. Philip Dorsett, connection to Tom Brady. Seth Williams, connection to Assistant General Manager Brian Stark. Who else did they sign? They had J.T. Woods. I'll be honest, I don't have a connection for him. Antonio Maffei. He played for, 5 years from 2018 to 2022 with Chip Kelly. This team values relationships. And if you're going to spit on the relationship of the Raiders, you're going to be out the door. What?
Raheem Mostert.
Raheem Mostert. He's another one. I was just saying the recent ones. But, yeah, I mean, dude, a lot of the moves that the Raiders have made this offseason, it matters with connections. All right, let's keep moving here through some Super Chats. I know we have a bunch to get to. I'll tell you this. If you want to go to the very front of the line, we're going to be banging here on today's show. What up, Robert? Wilkins dancing in Crocs was the last straw. I'll tell you this right now. If I was an organization and I gave you the amount of guaranteed money and my medical staff said that you needed another surgery, and then I see you in a walking boot at a charity golf event. I get it. It's for your buddy. All good in the hood. But then if I see a video of you right after we put you on the pup list and you're out there dancing in Crocs, that would piss me off. I'll tell you that right now. Like, it would piss me off. And I feel like the older and older I get, I kind of turn a little bit more into the guy, like, get off my lawn guy. But I think at the end of the day, world is about respect. And I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're in the NFL. I don't care if you're in school. I don't care if you're at your job. When the line of respect is crossed and you don't show respect anymore, that's where I'm going to be not respectful to you. I think I am one of the most laid-back, kind people in the world. But if I feel like you disrespect me, my family, and one of my own, right? Like, how many people were around for the NFL draft? And, I thought somebody was coming after Chugs, and I was standing up for him. Why? Because I feel like when you are disrespectful, and I think that's one thing that people need to learn in today's day and age, respect is a huge, huge effing thing. And Christian Wilkins, I think, disrespected the Raiders.
If we're going to be honest, the one knock on Wilkins, I mean, he's a good locker room guy in the sense of, like, he plays around, he's nice, everybody enjoys having him around.
Every player I've ever talked to has said nothing but nice things about him.
But the one thing was, on the flip side of that, the maturity of it.
Yeah.
Not knowing when to not play around, knowing when to not mess around,
True.
And kind of act like a kid. That might be a problem that Pete Carroll, in his old age, kind of like you just said, getting off your lawn. Pete Carroll is what? How old's Pete Carroll?
73.
73. He ain't got time for that bullshit. He's old. He's trying to turn this organization around. He doesn't have time for kids playing and dancing while they're injured. He said, no, I'm good. I'm good with all that, and we're going to move forward. And I do have to say it is a little bit of an easier move for Pete Carroll, for this front office, being that they're not the ones who signed Christian Wilkins as well.
Yeah. The Night Devil said duck, ? I don't know if we're going to do a duck race. I feel almost weird doing a duck race. We just did a duck race. We gave away $1,000 to Charles G.
That was insane.
About an hour or something ago. If you guys want to do a duck race, I'll leave it like this. If you guys want to do a duck race, if we get enough people here in the next 60 seconds to get in, I expect 10 people to get in. If I don't get 10 people to get in here in the next 60 seconds, $20 Venmo. Mitchell Renz 365. If somebody wants to go home with some money today, if you're like, you know what? I'm pissed off about Wilkins, but maybe I can go home with some cash. If we don't get 10 people to enter the duck race in 60 to 2 minutes, okay, then I ain't doing it. And you just send in a donation. Thank you very much to the show. But if we're going to do it, let's freaking do it. Let's show up. Let's have some commitment to excellence. But I just feel weird. I feel a little bit weird about this Christian Wilkins situation right now. I'm pissed off, quite frankly. Like, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to go, oh, Mitch is happy because he was right in a sense. I wish I was wrong. I'll tell you that. I swear to y'all, my grandfather's grave, I wish I was wrong on this story. I wish Wilkins was 100% healthy. I wish he was out there on the field because it makes us a better football team. I don't give a shit if I'm right or not. All I care about is if we win football games. And this does not make us a better football team. It doesn't. Plain and simple. It doesn't make us a better football team. So if you want to get in, $20 Venmo, Mitchell Renz 365. If you're like, Mitch, you need to lighten up a little bit. Let's throw some beers back. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't even mind having a beer or two after the day that this just happened. I mean, Chugs and I were Chugs left.
Yeah.
Chugs left work. I had to call him, had to bring him back in, and we're looking at a solid 12, 13-hour day here at Chat Sports. Let's go to Brandon. Our money should be sent on bringing back our own. Draft well, give vets cheap contracts. Chin, Pratt, Stokes, Spytek, Carroll are doing great. I look at the Christian Wilkins situation, and this is exactly why you give Colton Miller a contract extension. This is exactly why you give Jacoby Myers a contract extension. You got two players who I would say are almost just as good as Christian Wilkins at their position, respectfully. And, you got Jacoby Myers and Colton Miller showing up to non-mandatory events that are doing everything that you could possibly ask for from two players that have $0 million guaranteed on a contract. They didn't get mad. They didn't hold out after you traded for Geno Smith, after you gave him a 2-year extension after he never played. Because I'll tell you this, if I was Colton Miller and Jacoby Myers and I saw the deal that the Raiders just made for Geno Smith, I'd go, oh, left tackle's probably important. Oh, wide receiver's pretty important. But Jacoby, all they have said is, I want to be a Raider for life. Colt Miller, all I've said, I want to be a Raider for life. I think when you see a deal like this, I hope the Raiders honestly, and I mean this, Pete Carroll, John Spytek, if I got to text you, John, I will. I hope that you guys see that Colton Miller and Jacoby Myers deserve a freaking contract extension, because those are the types of players that deserve a reward. Those are the type of players that I want to keep around. Facts. Raider Profit, thank you, Chat Sports, for always staying on top of things. Tell us if we have changes to the 2025 cap space. Who's next up? You're not going to get an information, I would say, on the Raiders' salary cap space, because I don't think Spotrac, I don't think Over the Cap's going to know either, just because of the file, the grievance that's going on right now. I mean, I can look to see if they even have a rough estimate, but you're not going to get an estimate yet, because the Wilkins contract isn't going to show up the way that it needs to show up, and it's probably not going to show up for until the court date gets filed, right? I mean, they haven't set a scheduled date yet, but
that's the whole argument. They're basically fighting over that $35 million left guaranteed on his contract. The Raiders are saying, basically, by Wilkins not doing what the medical staff said and not doing what they recommended, that it voids his contract in the terms of him not taking their medical advice and doing what he's supposed to do. Wilkins is basically refuting that, saying, nope, that doesn't basically break or breach our contract. So at the end of the day, $35 million is on the line for the Raiders cap and for Wilkins.
Yeah. And maybe that's one of the like, we've been sitting around wondering, are the Raiders going to extend Jacoby? Are the Raiders going to extend Colton? I mean, maybe the Raiders knew that this was going to be a situation that could potentially happen, and if you go out and you extend those players, are you then unable to file a grievance for Wilkins? Because if Wilkins gets this his way, we're going to lose a lot of money in this situation. Let's go to WP. Go get Justin Simmons. I want to go get Justin Simmons. I've been screaming from the rooftops that free safety is probably this team's biggest need. And I think a lot of people are watching this show. I think that this team needs a free safety. I mean, I'll tell you this. I almost think that now we need another defensive tackle, right? If it was up to me, I'm going to get Jadeveon Clowney. Justin Simmons would be my top two names. If I'm trying to be a little bit cheaper, like the Raiders have been, I would say look for a trade for John Jenkins, or even go out and sign a Quinton Jefferson is probably what the Raiders are going to think about doing. Let's go to David Booth. Wilkins, Lazy Diva, Antonio Jones 2.0. Oh, man.
This one's funny.
It's pretty funny, man. I'm not going to lie to you. Scooby-Doo gang just removed the Christian Wilkins mask, and it was Antonio Brown all along. Oh, God. Oh, the Scooby-Doo references. Scooby-Doo, man. Scooby, Shaggy, they tried to teach you before. The biggest monsters in the world are not actually monsters. They're real people. Herman J., on the day Hulk Hogan passed away, another mind-blowing event has happened when I tuned into YouTube to see Mitch and Chugs announcing the Wilkins has been cut. The latter is cold-blooded. If I'm going to say one positive thing, and I know I said it the other day when Ozzy Osbourne passed, but our guy, Brandon Jasper, one of the greatest to ever do it, R.I.P. to the great tuna, he's probably up there right now talking to Hulk. He's probably up there right now talking to Ozzy. Hey, Ozzy, who are the best top 5 musicians of all time? Hey, Hulk, who are the top 5 wrestlers of all time? It's always sad when you lose a legend, but you know what? If one thing I've said, and I've said it to myself in my own mind multiple times, because actually, one of my good buddies, his father, he just passed away. He was actually, he won Scout of the Year in MLB. His name was, oh my God, Bittiger was his last name. I don't know if I should say the first name, but he won, Scout of the Year a few years ago for the Athletic A's. If you don't believe me, look it up. He was roommates with Billy Bean. He's featured in the movie Moneyball. He was my old travel coach, and we lost a great one. But one of the first things I thought of was, oh, he's up there with Brandon now, and it sucks. Today sucks, though we did win the AFC West, so that's a good part.
That's always great.
Angel Molina, what's up, man? Thank you so much for watching the show, dude. Greatly appreciate you tuning in. Blinky! I just never finished paying for the last of my trip to Vegas in November, and this shit happens. What a day. I got to finish still paying off my wedding. I still got to finish pay off. I did technically pay off my honeymoon, but I'm in a little bit of hole myself from the wedding, so I feel that. Alex and I had plans tonight. She just sent me a picture of Chuck, and Chuck was like, "Hey, when you coming home? I'll be home soon." Ghost of the Navigator, let me clarify. You told us about this. It should have been dealt with a long time ago, but he could have started on the PUP list. He is on the PUP list, and brought this drama multiple games into the season. Thanks for all you do for us. Ghost of the Navigator, and I don't do this show for pats on the back, nor should you guys send in super chats for pats on the back. I think people appreciate this program, and people that actually watch this show understand the amount of time, the amount of effort that we put in. I think, respectfully, I hope that people think that they are smarter. I hope that, Raiders fans know everything that we do here on this show, but at the same time, I hope people also know that, I love being able to talk to all y'all. I love being able to hang out with all y'all, and when we get information, we share that information. Aggressive Master Raider, I am bedridden from hernia repair surgery, and now you laid this shit on me. Oh, well, next man up, still stoked for the season. Hashtag Raiders. Hashtag Raiders. Cannon Wilkins shows me that this Raiders ain't BS. And the Raiders, the message they put out, they're not about this BS shit. They want people that are ready for commitment to excellence. They want people that are ready to go from the jump. And if $57.5 million doesn't make you want to go to battle for your brothers, then you were never a real one to begin with. What up, O'Neal? Mitch, releasing him is actually the only option. No one is going to take on that contract with an injured player. Peace out. Go get two players like Clowney and Simmons. Yeah, man, we're thinking the same, and I agree with you. No team was going to go trade for Christian Wilkins knowing everything that was going on in the background. And, again, this has been kind of lingering. But wild stuff here. What up, Luke? Mitch and Chugs getting news before ESPN.
Facts.
You're not wrong. I appreciate this super chat again. And, it's one of those things where I wish I was wrong. It's a weird situation that I'm in. I'm also proud of our team here at Chat Sports. I'm proud of the people that I've been able to get in my circle. I am proud of the amount of agents I've been able to connect with. I'm proud of the amount of players that talk to me. I'm proud of, the guys that I reach out to at training camp. I know that I'm not actually at training camp, but I love the fact that I've been able to build relationships with people where I'll message people and be like, hey, what exactly is going on? It takes two to tango. It's a respect level from their end. It's a respect level from my end. But in all honesty, I wish that we were wrong. I wish Wilkins was healthy. I wish he was helping this defensive line, because I know a healthy Christian Wilkins gives us the defensive line that every single Raiders fan wants to have. What up, Sam, the Raider fan? Would you say Jamarcus Russell signing is worse? Jamarcus Russell was a draft pick. Jamarcus Russell is the reason why they don't do fully guaranteed contracts anymore for first-round picks, at least in terms of the amount of money. They still do guaranteed contracts, but Jamarcus Russell, I believe, was 5 years, $84 million fully guaranteed, I think is what it comes out to. Now, first-round picks are getting 40, 30. It's just not nearly the amount of money. Project, I wish Wilkins got that surgery fast as the filled that grievance. I don't know what Wilkins is going to do. Quite frankly, I'm not worried about Christian Wilkins anymore, and I hope that he realizes that he's in the wrong here. Simmons and Hilton need to be the Raiders for us to serious playoff contenders, both one-year deals. I'm going to say I don't think Mike Hilton's going to happen, and the Raiders have, I think, almost tipped their hand a little bit of what they plan on doing this offseason, and I think that they're trying to figure out a way where, they're using three linebacker sets. Three linebacker sets tells me that they're going to go with two corners, two safeties. I think they're very confident in their corners. I think they're confident in Paul Lamau and Jeremy Chin, but the nickel spot is a little bit up in the air, and Patrick Graham throughout his history has used three safety looks, and I think you're going to see the Raiders rotate, Darian Porter, Jacorian Bennett, DeCamerion Richardson. They're going to rotate in Eric Stokes to fill that void, and then they're also going to try to fill that void in the safety room as well. James K., give the Bucs a call for Kalijah Cansey. Kalijah's not going to happen. I've seen a few people say Vita Vea. If Spytek wants to call his old buddy, go for it. But that's a team that is considered the best team in their division, and I don't see why they would trade away somebody that makes them clearly better. If you're the Raiders and you want to try to get a big-name guy, you probably should try to look for somebody that wants to get paid and has a contract situation. But based on some of the moves the Raiders have made, I just don't see that, happening. Let's go to Ron Raspberry. Couldn't we have just let him play like he wanted? But if he, I'll say Chugs was saying it in my ear, but if he would have gotten injured, then all the money would have been guaranteed. So the Raiders, though, they wanted him to get the surgery. The problem also is, like, as a medical staff, if the medical staff would have passed him, right, and then Wilkins gets hurt, well, then the Raiders are on the hook for all that money. The Raiders medical staff also has a job to do. Their names are also on the line. And if the medical team would have said, yeah, Christian, you can pass your physical, you're good to go, then that medical team's names would have been on the line. So I think, like, it's easy to say what you're saying, and I kind of get it, but I hope you understand, like, my standpoint of, medical team's not going to just pass a guy. Like, the reason why he's on the PUP list is because he did not pass his physical, because the Raiders did not think that he was healthy, and they knew that he wasn't healthy. That's why. Jerry Danley Bang! This is a true Raider day. Just watch the video of us beating the Kansas City Chiefs to win the AFC West. I was happy as hell, and then bang, Wilkins turned out to be a selfish person. Jerry, thank you so much, man, for pulling up here.
We got to redo the season.
You know what's crazy? I literally made the joke to Chugs, because we had Wilkins the entire year in our Madden sim. We're not going to redo the year, I'll tell you that. But do we take him out of the playoff game?
I already have it.
Yeah, I know. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Yoda, I gave him too much credit. I was thinking Wilkins would eventually get the second surgery, but now it's clear he stubbornly refused. Raiders were right to cut him, rip the Band-Aid off. And I think, like, that's kind of the way that you got to look at this whole situation. I think you just have to look at it as it's a shitty situation, but the Band-Aid needed to be ripped off, and hopefully it doesn't cost him $35.2 million to rip that Band-Aid off. Jermaine, he can kick rocks, Mitch. I'm not going to say F him. I won't go that far. I feel like I've already said my piece on him, but if you want to, Jermaine, I don't blame any Raiders fan out here for saying what you're saying, because I'm frustrated too. Because I think I'm also frustrated not only from a Raider standpoint, just from a regular person standpoint. I know too many people, firefighters, police officers, military veterans that, it's so difficult jobs, people that are working in the medical professional that work so hard every single day to put their bodies on the line, to put their lives on the line, and they give, people like Christian Wilkins the opportunity that he has to make the amount of money. And I'll be real, like, when I see shit like this, I look at it as a huge middle finger to all those, to everybody that I just mentioned there. And I think, like, that's sometimes what pisses me off about guys that make this amount of money. And I get it. It's an entertainment business, and I get it. The NFL is a booming business, and I get it. Players like Wilkins give me a platform where I can speak about this. But at the same time, I think we just got to be able to look at the facts. Like, I think it's a huge middle finger to everything that I just mentioned there. Let's go to John Doe. Clowney and either Julian Blackmon signed with the Saints. That was a few days ago. He signed for, it was a 1-year, $5.5 million deal. But Justin Simmons, yes. Jadeveon Clowney, yes. Both of those players have those connections to this organization. Clowney played 2019 with Pete Carroll, had one of his best seasons of all time, 87.3 overall PFF grade there. I don't remember the exact stats, but 15 sacks the past 2 seasons. And then for Justin Simmons, he's got a connection with Brian Stark, and he also has a connection to Joe Woods, 2 people who are very important to this organization. Brandon Voss, Spytek, and Carroll are cooking. Simmons, Hilton next. If they end up signing one of those 2 players, I will be live here on the Raiders Report. Luke, my wife's going to kill me. F it, Raider Nation for life. My wife, not that she's mad. That's not the right way to put it. It's just, we had plans. I would have been home about 2 hours ago. But at the same time, I think she understands that this is the business that I got in. She understands that, Raider Nation, I love talking about the Raiders, but at the exact same time, it is what it is. The Night Devil, which, speaking of ducks, I actually didn't see if we got enough people that got in this duck race. So let me look right now. I do not have enough people in the duck race. Do we still run one? We can run one? All right. You're going to have a chance to get in. Luckily, we're feeling nice. We're feeling nice. To the people that got in, I respect you. I see you. Let me just get some of these names here. If you want to get in our duck race, we'll give away some money today. Fabian Moreno, you in. Joe Mauld, in. I see Bill from Jersey, in. Tony Knutson, you are in. Right now, it's a $20 Venmo. You would go home with $40 here on today's show. Hey, we started $40 on our last show. We got all the way up to 1,000. Did the Raiders make a mistake by not getting Sam Darnold as backup for Geno Smith or a starter? Now, Geno Smith is better than Sam Darnold, and the Raiders have one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL with Aiden O'Connell, and this contract that he is, it's a solid deal. I think AOC is one of the perfect backup QBs in the league, and I think that some people think that I don't like him. I have the utmost respect for Aiden. I think he brings that compete mentality. Quite frankly, I think he's almost a perfect fit for this brand new regime, and good organizations value good backup quarterbacks. And I know I've talked about moving on from AOC and all that stuff. It's part of the job. It's part of the opinion you have to give. And if the Raiders were offered a 4th-round pick for AOC, I think they would jump at it. But at the exact same time, Aiden O'Connell is a great backup option for Geno Smith. And I think what the Raiders did this offseason was very smart with their quarterback situation. Devil, Ducks take mind off of the effery. Yes, they do, Night Devil. And you know what also takes your mind off effery? Hanging out August 22nd at the Desert Shark in Tucson. Just saying, if anybody wants to hang out with me, Desert Shark Tucson, I'll be there. August 22nd, Tucson, Arizona. Pull up. Raider Ray, late to the live. Does the voided contract money help out cap-wise, or is it dead money? How long before the team gets cap release from this release? Raiders. We just don't know yet. There's going to be a legal situation that's going on. Christian Wilkins and his team is filing a grievance with the NFLPA. Essentially, the Raiders are trying to save $35.2 million of that guaranteed money or the rest of his contract that the Raiders originally gave Wilkins. I do not know because the court date isn't set yet. But once we have a court date, once we get all that, we will see what ends up happening here. Jeremy Fowler said this had been simmering for a while. You could hear the uncertainty in the Raiders' public comments throughout the offseason from Fowler. Buddy Bear, I'm new to your show. Never seen it before. Good to see our schedules lined up. I know I miss you guys. I caught a little of the Madden Sims. Works crazy. You never have to apologize for working, Buddy Bear. Quite frankly, I wish Christian Wilkins would have been able to go to work a little bit more often. And, I say this all the time. When people have the opportunity to pull up, when people have the opportunity to watch the show, I hope that, they do. And I'm a busy guy too. Like, if I didn't do what I did, it'd be hard for me to catch this show. But the fact that you still came here just to say hi, what's up, I think that's a beautiful thing, dude. Appreciate you tuning in. Let's go to Gilbert Moreno. Shots! You want to do some shots, Gilbert? Oh, man. I don't know if I'm going to do some shots, but if we get 3 bangs in the next 5 minutes, that's going to tell me that y'all want to turn this into a shit show, and I'll put some beers down, and then Chugs and I will hang out for a little bit longer. We'll do another cut, and we'll hop on out of here. We can pour some out for Wilkins. Fourth Horseman Customs. Pete Carroll is a team structure coach. No room for BS. They made the right decision. That's the past, the season, the turnaround, the corner. Just win, baby. And I think this is a clear message that nobody's above the shield. I don't care if you make $27 million a year. I don't care if you make $1 million a year. If you don't want to go out there and give it your all, this is going to be a team that doesn't value you. Luke, another one. Now Luke, He said, have to beat Jerry total. Damn it, yeah, wife is going to leave me. I mean, right now I'm looking at the top fans, and right now Ryan Campbell is in first place with his XP. Jerry Danley is in second place, and then Luke is right there with 4,500 XP. I said it earlier. Whoever is the XP MVP of today's show, I'm going to send you some Raiders report stuff. I don't know exactly what it is yet because I also remember I don't have a hat. But you have my word, and I hope my word is good. If the Christian Wilkins breaking news hasn't proved that my word is good, then I don't know what the hell it's going to do. Chugs said, if you want a Wilkins jersey, we can hook you up with a Wilkins jersey. I saw some people do some crazy shit to Antonio Brown's jersey in Oakland back in 2019. I feel like this might be kind of similar. Luke, you got to beat Jerry. Good luck to you, man. You're still down in the XP battle, but you're not out. You are down. Bad driver. Sounds like my wife. No, I'm just kidding. Mitch, I just got off work and trying to see what's going on. Why did we let go of Wilkins? Also, is Justin Simmons off the table now? Thanks for everything you do. Can't wait to see this team still and see Dante Thornton Jr. Yeah, dude, Thornton's the real deal. I try to stay in communication with Thornton's agent as often as I can, and he's obviously opening up eyes. The reason why this ended up happening is I reported last month that Wilkins needed another surgery. He didn't want to have the surgery, but the Raiders team felt like that he needed to have the surgery, and because of that, that is why this release ends up going down. Now, Wilkins and the Raiders are going to get in some sort of legal battle from what it sounds like right now, but Justin Simmons, I don't know if he was ever on the table. Again, when I do this show, a lot of times I also just speak my mind, and I put videos and content out in that regard, and that's kind of what happened here, you know, with Justin Simmons. I don't know if there is a connection, but I do know that Simmons wants to play for a contender, and that might have been one of the reasons why he hasn't signed yet, because some people don't view the Raiders as true contenders. Speaking of contenders, I got some people contending to win some money in our duck race here. Anthony Green, I got you. You're in. Also, Hunter Jackson, I got you. You're in. You can add me as a friend. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. What up, Dawson? Any names we could trade for you think of besides Jenkins? Just check the free agents and no inspiring names. Well, I think luckily for you, Dawson, coming up here on today's show, we are going to get into some Christian Wilkins replacements. I'll talk about some replacements on the Raiders. I'll talk about some replacements as trade candidates and as free agents. I do want to just go grab some water. I put all my stuff away. Can I just, if you could just fill up the mug for me, that would be great. But who do you guys want the Raiders to go out and get as a potential replacement for Christian Wilkins? This is holy shit, man. What a day. Am I right? What a freaking day, man. I hate the fact that we were right, and I mean that. I really, really hate that. Also, Luke, don't apologize to me. Like, the last thing I want you to do is put yourself in a bad situation just because you're trying to be the XP champion. I appreciate it, but at the same time, I don't want people doing anything crazy, putting themselves in bad situations. Yeah, that's not what we want. We don't want to do that. We're here to have a good time. I hope people know that I'm always here to have a good time, but at the same time, I don't want, crazy shit to happen. Yeah. It is what it is. Oh boy. Though, oh dude. I love it. I mean, I'll probably ask for some help after this live, just with a few things, but I don't know if anybody will be able to help. We'll worry about it later. I mean, if we get some help, like, again, we'll talk about it. Yep. Even like the mailbag too, though. Like, I'm actually concerned everything that we had scheduled for over the weekend. I'm a little bit worried about it. We'll figure it out. Because the segment that's going to go out, I think, on like Saturday, I think was one that cooked. Yeah. Starting lineup is cooked. Yep. No, actually, we're okay. We can get rid of the starting lineup ones. Obviously, got to go. Hot seat's probably okay, but even that one's not great because Jamal's playing linebacker. Sorry, y'all. Chugs and I are just talking about some behind-the-scenes stuff here, just because we got a 3-day weekend, and I don't have everyone that's always available to me here at Chat Sports, so I just trying to figure out a few little odds and ends, but there's going to be a lot of stuff that pops up, so I just got to make some at-homes. It's fine. Yeah, it's all good. You guys ready to talk about some Christian Wilkins replacements? I sure hope so. Choco Bear's ready to go. You're ready to go. Coming up, let's get into some Christian Wilkins replacements after a crazy, crazy day here at the Raiders Report. Raider Nation, it's Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Reporting. Coming up on today's show, we're going to look at some potential Christian Wilkins replacements. Before we get into who the Raiders could sign in free agency, who the Raiders could potentially trade for, I do want to talk about the players that are on this team as it stands right now, because I think that that's where Pete Carroll and John Spytek are going to look first. Now, I will say this. There is an open roster spot. The Raiders, as it stands right now, have 90 players on their roster. They're allowed to have 91 because they have Laki Tassi, the International Pathway Program player. I'll be transparent, though. I do not know exactly how much salary cap space the Raiders have after the Wilkins release, because there is a situation going on right now with Wilkins and the Las Vegas Raiders. If you want more information on it, go check out the video that I did yesterday on the Raiders Report. For everyone that's watching live, it's the video that I just released about Christian Wilkins. But right now, Wilkins no longer a Raider after being moved on from. So the players that you're going to see here are me just telling you the guys that I believe need to step up now for the silver and black. Let's go to number 5 here on the list. It is Jonnu Lalu, a young player that I think is going to get a good opportunity. A big body guy, did have to step up last season for the silver and black when Wilkins went down, and he's somebody that I hope that can take that next step, because when he has been given the chance, he has played pretty well. Number 4 on the list is going to be rookie Tonka Hemingway, and quite frankly, you could probably also put J.J. Pegues in here as well, right next to Hemingway, but these are two tweener defensive tackles. When the Raiders drafted him in the 4th round, there were some reports about this Wilkins situation that ended up going down. But overall, you need our rookies to be able to step up here. Coming in at number 3, Adam Butler was signed to a 3-year, $16.5 million deal. And he is going to be the number 1 defensive tackle on this roster. He's somebody who I value as a little bit more of like a DT2 to help everybody else around him, but Butler is going to have to take that next step. Coming in at number 2, Leki Fotu. Most of this offseason, Fotu was the player that replaced Christian Wilkins on the defensive line. He was signed after the NFL draft. He's probably the biggest defensive tackle that we have, not named Tank Booker, not named also Laki Tassi. I know Tassi's playing a little bit of offensive guard, but Fotu, I think, is going to be the big body double team eater, which is going to hopefully free up Adam Butler, hopefully free up Malcolm Kuntz, Max Crosby. But to me, I think the guy that the Raiders are going to rely on the most to replace Christian Wilkins, number 7th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, it's going to be Tyree Wilson. And when it comes to Wilson, he's been working at defensive end, at defensive tackle. I spoke to a source very close to Tyree that told me that he's trying to put on 10 to 15 pounds to bulk up. He's looked really good in training camp over the first 2 practices, but for Wilson, it's really, really important for him to take that next step, and he's going to have a great, and I mean great, opportunity to do so. Here's your question, though, that I want each and every one of y'all to answer. Scale it from 1 to 10. What is your confidence level in the Raiders' defensive line without Christian Wilkins? You're about to get in with a YouTube ad break. While the ad is playing, if you could, let it play. Believe it or not, it helps Chugs and I out, and it's a huge thank you from staying alive a little bit longer here on today's show. Let the ad play. While the ad is done playing, scroll on down, give me your answer. Scale from 1 to 10. My answer coming up here in just a moment. I'm going to sit up here. I'm going to give it a 6. And Actually, that's a lie. I'm going to give it a 7. And I say 7 because I believe in this Raiders defensive line. Was it defensive line or defensive tackle? I think it was defensive line. If it's defensive line, it's a 7. If it's the defensive tackle room, it's going to be a 6. All right, D-line. Yeah, I'm going to go 7. We still have one of the best in the biz in Max Crosby. I do believe in Adam Butler. I believe in the complementary players of Lecky Fotu, Zach Carter, and John Ulalo being ready right away. I don't think, based on some of the things that I've heard, that J.J. Pegues and Tonka Hemingway are going to be able to contribute right away, but hopefully I'm wrong on that. Charles Snowden is a player that I know is going to have to step up, but Malcolm Kuntz, Tyree Wilson, those are the two guys that now you really, really need them to be healthy. You need them to be available for them to go ahead and take that next step. Coming up next here, let's look at some Wilkins replacement via a trade. And let's face the facts. The players that I'm about to talk about here, some of y'all are going to be looking for big names. I'm sure some of y'all are probably going to be like, Mitch, what about Trey Hendrickson? I just don't think Trey Hendrickson is going to be in the cards because of the amount of money the Raiders would have to give up. Micah Parsons, same exact thing. The way that I'm going to break this down is I'm going to look at it as based on teams and which teams I'm going to call and which players I'm going to call about. The first phone call that I'm doing, I'm picking up the phone and I'm calling the Baltimore Ravens. And I want to know if John Jenkins is available. I think you'd be able to get him for a 7th-round pick. He's got a great relationship with Rob Leonard, great relationship with Patrick Graham. Played with the Raiders in 2023 and 2024, and if the Raiders went out and traded for him, it would be $1.3 million. I'll also say this. I have spoken with John Jenkins recently, and Jenkins told me he's happy in Baltimore, and he's concentrated on the Ravens, but he did think that he was coming back to the Raiders, and he would love the opportunity to play for the Raiders. Again, I want to be very clear. It's not that he's unhappy in Baltimore, but when he was on the Raiders, he did play very well for what they were paying for him. A good veteran presence that's got a relationship with multiple players and multiple coaches on this staff. Let's go to another player that the Raiders could potentially pick up the phone and give a call to. I'm going to go Andrew Billings, defensive tackle from the Chicago Bears. He played on the Raiders in 2022 and with the Miami Dolphins in 2021, where he played with Adam Butler, where he played with John Jenkins, where he played with Rob Leonard. Also, Chicago, they added Grady Jarrett this offseason. And a trade's only going to cost the Raiders $2.1 million this upcoming season. The biggest question mark with Billings is he able to stay healthy? When he is healthy, he is a good player. Unfortunately, health has not been his strong suit. He played in 297 snaps last season, an overall PFF grade of 62.5. You can see the pass rush grade. He's definitely better at being able to get after the quarterback. But as I mentioned, it's his inability to stay healthy. Played in only 8 games last season. Did play a full season in 2023, missed some games in 2022, and then missed some games as well in 2021. Let's go to another name here that the Raiders could potentially give a trade call to. It's the Carolina Panthers. And some of you are probably going, Mitch, why aren't we getting some of these big-name guys? Because I don't know if a big-name trade would happen. 30 years old. He missed 8 games the past 4 seasons in Carolina. The Panthers, they signed Bobby Brown, Tershawn Wharton, and they drafted Cam Jackson this season. A trade for the Raiders, they would pay him $5.8 million this season, $7.6 million, though, 0 guaranteed. I would look at this as like a 1-year prove-it deal for $5.8 million. Last season in Carolina, 761 snaps played. Low overall grade if you look at PFF, but I'll just say this. He was on one of the worst teams in the NFL, and the Carolina Panthers defense was on the field a ton. So if you look at what the Raiders did defensively last year and the past 2 years, they struggled because of the amount that they were on the field. And look at Robinson, 5.5 sacks, 80 tackles, 16 games played. If there's one thing that he usually does, he usually stays pretty healthy. Another name here, David Onyemata. ESPN reported earlier this offseason that Atlanta could look to move on from him. Another older gentleman, 32 years old, and Atlanta can save $10.5 million by moving on from him. If the Raiders go out and trade for him, it does cost you $10.0 million, but who knows? Maybe Atlanta, they're trying to save a little bit of money. They also got a situation going right now with Kirk Cousins. But this is a solid defender. Last season, 567 snaps played, a 66.2 overall PFF grade. The pass rush, the run defense, he can provide it, and he also provides some health. Like, to me, I don't necessarily look at age all that much. I know that I'm bringing it up because I know it's important to a lot of fans. But at the defensive tackle position, it's been a position that, quite frankly, Guys have been able to show for a long time that they can sit around, they can continue to be productive, and that's what Onyemata has been able to do. Let's go to another name here. It is John Franklin Meyers, and some of you are going to go, Mitch, there's no way the Broncos are going to make a trade for the Raiders. I don't know if I necessarily totally disagree with you, but I also am old enough to remember when I said the Raiders were unhappy with Neil Farrell Jr., and then the Raiders ended up trading Neil Farrell Jr. literally like a week later to the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to cost a lot more than that, but he's been a no-show at Broncos OTAs, and I actually don't know exactly what the situation is right now at training camp. The last time I brought up John Franklin Meyers, I'll be transparent because I already did this Christian Wilkins replacement show a month ago, in case you didn't know, and it was right around OTAs. But he hasn't missed a game in the last 3 years. And if the Raiders were to go out and trade for him, it would technically cost $7.4 million, but he wants a brand new contract. And the other reason why I'm bringing this up is because the Raiders' new assistant general manager, Brian Stark, has been with the Denver Broncos, it was like the past 13 seasons, I want to say. So there's somewhat of a coaching connection there. And yeah, I don't anticipate an AFC West rival giving us a player, but also if that situation right now is murky waters, then that could be a player to at least keep in mind. He was really solid last season, 82.8 overall PFF grade of 533 snaps. The pass rush grade is why you would want to go out and get him. He is a good, reliable defender on the interior. And I will say this, John Franklin Meyers has reported the training camp, so maybe it's a name that is not as likely, and I apologize for not doing as much research on that. But at the same time, we are live here on the Raiders Report. We've been here for about 12 hours at this point, and I always want to be able to provide the best content that I can. So I don't know if John Franklin Meyers, I'll be honest, makes as much sense as he did maybe about a month ago. But you know what? You win some, you lose some. This probably out of all the trades would probably be the one that ends up happening, just knowing how crazy the NFL offseason can truly be. So again, we decided to make this video because Christian Wilkins is no longer on the Las Vegas Raiders after being released. But what do you think is more likely for Pete Carroll, for John Spytek? Do you think it's more likely that they trade for a defensive tackle, or do you think that it's more likely that they sign a defensive tackle? These are going to be the questions that I'm wondering, and I think these are going to be the questions that I think a lot of y'all are wondering as well. Personally, for me, I would say the more likely option is for the Raiders to sign a defensive tackle. And I think it's just because they don't want to go out and spend a lot of money, because they also don't know how much money they can spend with some of the unknowns right now around the Christian Wilkins grievance that is being filed against the Las Vegas Raiders. But coming up here on the show, I'm going to tell you some replacements that Las Vegas could sign via free agency. And the first player that I'm going to bring up here on free agency, quite frankly, is the guy that I think that the Raiders are going to sign to replace Christian Wilkins. I believe the Raiders will go out and get Quinton Jefferson. And, you know, Quinton Jefferson has been my number one defensive target for the Raiders on the defensive line. Not like the number one guy I would want to go out and get, but the guy that I've always said that I believe is the most likely to happen. He played 5 seasons with Pete Carroll in 2026 to 2019 and also 2022. He was on the Raiders in 2021, and he is well respected and loved by Max Crosby. 32 years old, played 252 snaps last season. The other important note is this. On Tuesday, when the Raiders made all their roster moves, they made 9 roster moves on Tuesday. The defensive tackle the Raiders brought in for a visit, Quinton Jefferson. And I think that Quinton Jefferson is going to be the name that they pick up the phone and they go, hey, I need you at training camp tomorrow. Can you be there? I would anticipate tomorrow the Raiders end up signing Quinton Jefferson. Now, some other names that you could potentially look at are Austin Johnson. Austin Johnson played 32 games, started 18 the past 2 seasons. 2 seasons with Patrick Graham in 2020 and 2021, and a career-high 72 tackles and 3.5 sacks in 2021 underneath Patrick Graham. So I know, again, we're not going to be able to find, I think, anybody that's got like this big name overall. But for a guy like Johnson, you just got to be able to sit back and realize, all right, he's been able to stay relatively healthy. He's got 2 years with Patrick Graham, and he is coming off a career high with PG in 2021. Now, last season, only 19 tackles. He's a big body guy, 6'4", 314 pounds. I'll even be honest. I didn't even know he played at Penn State, and I'm a Penn State guy. Let me know down below. Who's your favorite college? But to me, the number one name, if we're actually trying to go out and make a splash, I want to go out and I want to get Jadeveon Clowney. 15 sacks the past 2 seasons, and he could play defensive end. He could play defensive tackle. I actually think putting Tyree Wilson and Jadeveon Clowney on the line gives you a lot of versatility. And when he played for Pete Carroll in 2019, he played 650 snaps. He had an 87.3 PFF grade overall. And we just have so many of these tweeners on our roster already. And for that reason, I just really, truly believe that Jadeveon Clowney would be a good fit on this defense. Remember last year when people called me crazy for saying I think Caleb on Chase could have a good year with Rob Leonard? I mean, Jadeveon Clowney was also just on Carolina. 46 tackles, 5.5 sacks. Clowney on this defensive line with Rob Leonard, with Patrick Graham, I do actually think is a good combination. And over the past few seasons, he's been able to show that he can be reliable in the running game. He's been able to show that he can also be reliable in the passing game. And I think that that is very, very important. And if the last time that Clowney was with Pete, Clowney played really well, and the Seahawks were able to win some games. Just the way that this organization operates, I think that all of those things are very, very important. So I know I've been breaking down some free agent targets. To me, I think Quinton Jefferson is the most likely name that's going to end up happening, but I would love to see Clowney be able to join the silver and black because I love this stat here. He did have 2 touchdowns in 2019 with Pete Carroll. 3 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 31 total tackles. And when I think of Clowney, I'm not going to lie, I think of those I obviously think of the Houston Texans. I also think of that crazy tackle that he had against Michigan, which maybe that's the reason why Spytek and Pete wouldn't end up bringing him in. But I also think of these neon green jerseys. And in the 650 snaps that he played, his second highest PFF grade of his career came with Pete Carroll, 87.3 in 2019. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for making this far in the video. I didn't expect Christian Wilkins to get released. I did expect that this news would come out sooner rather than later, and I wish that Wilkins could have figured it out and still been on our team because I think that we are a better team with Christian Wilkins. But at the end of the day, as the Raiders said, he did not put commitment to excellence out there. He did not have a clear path, and I believe the clear path for the Raiders is going to be to go out and find a replacement for him. I hope that Tyree, all those guys that I mentioned, step up, but I think Quinton Jefferson is going to be the name to keep an eye out that the Raiders go out and potentially sign. All right, y'all, we got some breaking news, and I can't believe today has gone the way that it has, but Christian Wilkins is no longer a member of the Las Vegas Raiders. The Silver and Black have decided to move on from him, and here's the message that I want to say very, very loud and clear. When the Raiders make a move, we're going to make a video. When I get a source tell me something, I'm going to give you information. So to make sure that you never miss any news, to make sure that you never miss anything going on around the Las Vegas Raiders, I hope that you hit that subscribe button. I hope you turn on those notifications. And I hope that you join us every single day because I put out a video every day on this channel for the last 5 to 6 years at this point. Why? Commitment to excellence. Wilkins, maybe you can learn a thing or two. Also, Danley! Bang! I think we need a new 91 player list now. Wilkins is out. Yeah, I probably going to have to do that. I'm probably also going to have to do a brand new 53-man roster. I'll be honest, I got a 3-day weekend this weekend, but I'm going to be making a lot of videos, and I can already tell y'all that I'm going to be making some videos from home, so just keep that in mind, and I hope that you guys understand that because Chat Sports legally has to do like 10 holidays, like 10 calendar holidays, something like that, and since we work Christmas, Thanksgiving, we don't really get those days, so legally the team is can't work this weekend unless I don't even know exactly. So I'm going to be making some videos from home. I'm just letting you know, you're going to get a 53-man roster update. If breaking news happens, you're going to get some extra videos from me. Now, I will say this. If the Silver and Black were to go out and do a huge, huge move, we would get a producer here. I don't know who it would be. Maybe it's Chugs. Maybe it's somebody else, whoever's available. Again, I I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Though, I will say this. Saturday, I have something planned with Alex, so if it happens Saturday night, just be patient with me. That's all I'm going to say. I got some plans for Alex, something really special. So if it happens Saturday night, like 6 p.m. Eastern time, just be patient with me. That's how I'll say that. Just be patient with me. What up, Blake Goodwin? Just saw the news. Don't know why he wouldn't want to do the surgery, in my opinion. And how much does it impact our salary cap? Now is the time to extend Jacoby. I actually think because of the situation, I don't know if you're going to be able to extend Jacoby and Colton right away. He didn't think that he needed the surgery. The Raiders medical staff did think that they needed him, which is why he was put on the PUP list, which is, kind of why this whole situation has happened. But I don't know why he didn't think that it would be smart to listen to the Raiders medical staff. I don't have the answer for you there. What up, Luke? No more money. I'm out. I'm not that rich. Sorry, Mitch. Don't apologize to me. Again, I want people to super chat on this channel if they feel like they can do it. If people want to give me a tip, none of the super chat dollars go to me. None of the Venmos go to me. None of it goes to Jeremy. It always goes back to honestly being able to get you guys more content. And I hope that you've been able to see Chat Sports has grown. The Raiders Report has grown. And I can't wait for y'all to see everything that Chugs and I and this Chat Sports team, this Raiders Report team, is going to be able to do this season. Because, I mean this, we've always upped our game. I think every single year I've done this show, this upcoming year, we're going to up it to a whole nother level, and I hope y'all are ready. Because I think when people think of what we've done for the past 5, 6, 7 years, I think you're going to look back and go, 2025 was the year that the Raiders Report took it to a whole nother level. And I can't wait to show y'all the cameras that we have. I can't wait to show you the room that we're in. I can't wait to show y'all, the appearances that we're going to be able to make, the people we're going to be bringing on. It's going to be so different this year. So don't ever apologize to me, and I mean that. What up, Real Cowboy? In Spytech and Carroll we trust. Let's effing go. I believe we are all caught up now on our super chats, which means to me the only thing I got left to do is a duck race. And if you're trying to get in, please get in. Moises, you, sir, are in. $20 Venmo to go home with $70 here on the Raiders Report as it stands right now. As it stands right now, let me know, man, if you're trying to get in. I will say this, after this duck race, unless y'all are trying to party, and I'm going to be transparent. Chugs and I have been here all day. I think you can probably tell. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little tired. I haven't eaten dinner. I'm starving. You boys got to eat. You boys got to eat. But I will always put the nation first, and I will always have that commitment to excellence. So if y'all want to party, and if y'all want me and Chugs to stick around, I need you to show it to us. If not, I'm not going to be offended. I hope that you guys still enjoyed the program that we're able to put together today. Alex said, hurry it up. Alex has been telling me to hurry it up all night. But at the same time, she understands the job that I do. She also understands that I take a lot of pride in what I do. And I think that's the most important thing of when you find that person in your life, there's some pull. And Alex loves me to the end of the world and back. She also knows how much I care about my job. She also knows how we put a roof over our head and food on our table. So it's a two-way street. But I mean this, I also appreciate you guys getting to know me, watching this channel grow, seeing the relationship that Alex and I have been able to develop, seeing the relationship that, Danny and Chugs have been able to develop. I think it's one of the coolest parts about what we do. We're so much more than a YouTube channel. We've been able to build a beautiful community here, and I hope that y'all can see that. Ron said, get me in, Mitch. All right, let me see here. I have, oh, man, Elijah. Hang on here. I see Elijah Williams. You're in. I see Elijah Johnson. You're in. I got Ron Raspberry in. Brian Tucker. You're in. $20 Venmo right now to go home with $110. Oh, all right. You know what? I'm going to go get a beer or two for Jerry Danley. That mother effer's crazy dude, huh? Chug said, Jerry, Do you want to throw down some beers or do you want a Chugs boot? Chugs just offered a boot because we got one for Jerry Danley. Bang! 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 I hate guaranteed money. It seems like you're trying to hit the lottery. A lot of us are. Bust when we give money away for free. Jerry Danley! He says I want a boot. You know what? If we get 3 more bangs, I'm doing a boot race against Chugs. 3 more bangs. And I'm going to do a boot race against Chugs. I'm going to tell you this, though, and I mean this. It's going to F me up. I have not eaten anything. Chugs got us Thai food. We ate at, what, noon? So I worked out this morning. I had a protein shake. Shout out to Panda Sups. I had some Thai food, and it was literally a lettuce wraps. And I had a few beers earlier on the Raiders report, but I have not eaten anything today. So I'm telling you right now, if you want to see a loosey-goosey Mitchell Renz after some breaking news from Christian Wilkins, today might be one of your best days to get me loosey-goosey. I'll tell you that. And if you're tuning in right now, and I mean, if you got kids watching the show, sometimes this is what we do. I like to have a good time. I want to be able to get my weekend going on a high note. Some other people that are getting in here, I see Chase Coe and Kalen. You are in. So I see Kalen Newsome in, Chase Coe in. Yeah, it's actually Chase. You no. Again. Another one! Oh! My goodness! Jerry! Danley! Bang! Oh my goodness, dude. Oh my goodness. Rebel said it's gong time. Jerry, the gong's over there. I don't have my team here to go get it for me. You're good, Chugs. Jerry, absolutely. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, that scared me. I did not see you. Came out of nowhere. All right, you know what? Jerry's been such a legend. If one more person bangs, I'm putting down a boot. Chugs and I are boot racing, and then I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have the answer for you. I don't have the answer for you, but I know this. Jerry Danley is now up there with 25,000 XP. I don't know if that's the highest XP I've ever seen, but I do. Chugs. You're good. Technically, it's over there. I just didn't have it. Chugs ran in the complete other room. Jerry, this is a word from our sponsor. Jesus. Since you have a green shirt, you're just floating. I think we should do it like this every time. Just hopping in. From the top rope. Oh, Jerry! You crazy, crazy mother effer, Jerry Danley. Holy shit, man. Miguel! First live being back from deployment. Definitely miss you guys. Miguel, thank you, man, for serving. Thank you for doing everything you do. I don't know what's about to happen on this program, but I do think that some crazy shit is about to happen here, Jeremy. Because there is a certain person that some of y'all are going to remember. some of y'all are going to remember. And you hear that 1-800 number? There's a 1-800 number, and it's somebody's calling for a boot now. Rebel, are you here? Rebel, can we get the 1-800 boot song going? Because Jedi Spidey bang! All right, I'm just going to warn you. It's going to get sloppy, all right? If you're somebody that doesn't want your kids to be around guys throwing down beers, I'm not going to get mad at you. Now's your time to log off. But I haven't eaten anything all day, and it's going to be interesting. Just let's do let's do that. You're getting a happy dad one. Jerry sent a gong and needs a boot now. Call Jerry Danley. 877 boot now. 877 boot now. 877 boot now. Jerry Danley throws one up to Jedi Spidey. Bang! I'm telling you what, man. This is about to get crazy. If you're trying to get in the duck race, $20 Venmo. Cruz, you, sir, are in. 20 to win, $140 here on the Raiders Report. All right, I'm just going to warn you. Chugs is probably going to smoke me.
$10 and I do it shirtless.
I mean, you kind of are. You're just floating. You're just floating right now. It would be I know somebody said Colton Miller extension's going to happen. There's actually times where you guys kind of get me pretty banged up, and I get nervous about breaking news because I know that I'm not at my full strength.
$10.
Peter, it's okay, Mitch. We can always hope that you win. The Chugster is back. Chugs, you should do a boot shirtless for the memory of Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania around the world. Yeah. I think there's some uhs in there. Definitely a few uhs in there. All right. One son's jacked up. Tear the shirt? That's wild. That's a good shirt. I'm not going to tear it. That's a crazy thing. All right, you ready? I'm just going to warn you. If you want Chugs and I to hang out after this, let's keep this shit show going because this is going to put me in a good spot. I'm just going to tell you that right now. It's going to put me in a good spot. I will probably have to pee, though. Is that okay? 10-second head start. Here we go.
All right, hold on. I got to go. My shirt's green. Hold on. I got to go back here. 1 second. 1 second. All right. We're back. All right, we're back. Last chance to get in the duck race. $20 Venmo. Oh, I needed that. At Mitchell Renz 365. Oh, wow. Okay. Mitch just said every bang he'll do a beer bong. from here on out. So if y'all want to get it, you can get it. If not, we're going to do this duck race. We've had a long day. Oh, God. Super Chat's coming in. Frank, will the Raiders get new alternate uniforms this year? The real question everybody wants to know. Will the Raiders get alternate uniforms? Maybe. I think it's one of those things, though, where I say that they're a classic team and the Packers and Bears have like alternates that they do, but the Raiders have had that same silver black. Like they've maybe had a few alterations here and there, but the ending jersey is always the ending result is always kind of similar, you know, it's the classic look. It's like Alabama or Penn State, like they're classic. I mean, they did have the color rush jerseys. That is true. The silver letters are not silver letters. Silver numbers. I don't know. Real LOL FFS Chugs has a deep throat. Goes pretty deep. It's pretty deep. I'm not gonna lie. If you're just now joining us, you've missed a lot. The Raiders release Christian Wilkins. Horrible news. I mean, we had a feeling like Wilkins might not play this year with the injury already. The Raiders medical staff didn't want him to. The Raiders medical staff wanted him to go to second surgery. They wanted him to sit out this season. And he didn't want to do that. He did not want to listen to the Raiders medical staff. And because of that, because of the two sides not agreeing on this and how to go about his recovery, because he already had surgery in last October, didn't fully fix the problem. So I think, and a lot of people have said in the chat too, the final straw kind of came with Wilkins. Alex Bachman posting that video of Wilkins kind of like dancing in the team facility while this whole thing's going on. I can't imagine, you know, Spy Tech, Carol loved seeing that. But, yeah. Boo-hoo. Oh, wow, I forgot to take that off.
Jedi Spidey, you are in. And I apologize ahead of time. It looks like Alex and I are pregnant.
Oh.
Chugs is like, oh my God. No, my nipple's leaking.
Oh.
Chugs is like, that's the craziest way to announce.
Dude, I was like, bro, you're announcing it like that?
With a stain on my shirt?
After just
doing a boot is crazy.
Doing a boot?
Exact. That's on y'all, okay? Boo-hoo! Who do you want the Raiders to sign at DT, Chugs?
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This might be the perfect opportunity in the final piece of the puzzle to complete my agenda of Tyree Wilson is a defensive tackle. I've been saying it for 2 years. He's a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
And I think maybe now you move Adam Butler to that nose tackle position. I know maybe not as big maybe as you want him to be for that nose tackle spot, but I think he can still play it decently. You drafted two big body guys in Tonka and J.J. Pegues, and then you have Tyree Wilson as that 3-tech who can just do what he does best, be a massive human being and take up space.
And Tyree's so motivated this season, and like people are always come at me like, oh, you defend Tyree. I know Tyree, right? Like I talk to Tyree. He's a good kid. He's got a good head on his shoulders. Like, he wants to win. And I hope he doesn't get mad at me for saying this, but, you know, he was not healthy his first year. And I think they really relied on Chandler Jones to be able to, you know, step in and kind of hold it down. And, you know, Chandler Jones. I don't really know how else to explain it besides that. But I know Wilson wants to succeed, and I'm telling you, dude, he's been working, and he's putting on good weight. He looks really good. His first 2 days at training camp, all positive reports. I hope that we finally get to see what he can do. But if it was up to me, free agency, I'd probably go out and get Jadeveon Clowney. So,
Oh, wait. Oh, no. Sorry. This is a new one.
Oh. Oh! See! Raider! Bang! Turn your volume down. I'm just going to warn you, we're blowing the roof off this joint. What up, OC? I can't believe y'all are still live. Real ones. I got my number 2 jersey. Thanks. I know I sent out a bunch of jerseys, like we gave away, honestly, it was like 32 jerseys during the NFL draft.
Yeah.
And because the draft process for us is a very long process, and then we kind of get backed up a little bit. And selfishly, once May hit, I was in full like wedding, honeymoon mode with like, I don't want to say I wasn't working a lot. I was still working a lot. We also have like extra hours. Long story short, I owed a lot of jerseys to people. So, OC, thanks for getting it, and appreciate you doing this. But I'm going to throw this down. Now, I'm telling you right now, I'm kind of getting a little loosey-goosey here. And if we get too loosey-goosey, some deals, you don't know how it's going to go.
Oh, yeah. My wife is ready for the season. Also, I completely trust this regime to make the most of this lemon release. Cheers, Mitch, and congratulations.
OC, man, you're such a real one, dude. You've supported the show through and through for such a long time. And, I get really excited when a guy like OC pulls up here and bangs. And it's, I get excited like earlier, like we were like, oh, shit, is that Hellcat Q in the chat? Because, like, we just get to know y'all so well. And some of, like, the highest of our highs and the lowest of our lows, you kind of go through it together. So, like, when you get a real one that pulls up, especially a day like today, today's been a very difficult day for Raiders Report.
Yeah.
We won the AFC West, beat the Chiefs, FKC's down below, and then the Wilkins shit happens, and it's just, it's tough, dude. It's a tough one. What up, Frank? Will the Raiders get new alternate uniforms this year?
Sorry,
that's an old one? Chugs is like, bro, it's late. Tyler, Shop. Me and my dad are huge Raider fans. He's been saying that about Tyree since he was drafted. He will eat. He's trying to eat. He's trying to add 10 to 15 pounds.
Telling y'all.
Also, does anybody live near Tucson, Arizona? I'll be out there August 22nd if y'all want to hang out. There's a restaurant called Desert Shark Tucson. It's pretty good from what I hear. If you want to be there, let's say around like noon that day, might not be a bad idea. I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking. Live Oak, Mitch is going to be like there's a goose on the loose. Yep, there probably is. Final call to get in the duck race here on the Raiders Report. Final call to get in. Chugs, can I get a 5-minute countdown, like the timer? 5-minute countdown. Also, we're putting 5 minutes on the clock here until this shit show ends. And my deal is going to be a simple deal. Simple deal. Every single bang, we'll add 5 minutes. Beer bong, and we add 5 minutes. If not, it is a clear communication that y'all are like, Mitch, go the F home. But at the same time, I think we're both married now. There was a few years ago where we weren't married, and we probably would have stayed here until midnight. But at the exact same time, I think this is always a good way to figure out what y'all want, what we should do, and that's how we're always going to keep it real. And I hope that you guys understand that. It's all love. But I've already been pretty banged up. This could turn into a loosey-goosey show.
Was Jedi
as
Spidey
Live Oak said.
Was Jedi Spidey the last one?
The last one that I saw, Jedi Spidey. No. Can you add Elijah Johnson? I can do it. Though you could probably type better than me. And then I need you to add Soldier Man. Oh, that was a dab. There you go, Soldier Man.
All right, I'm putting in the names.
I know that's not how you pronounce your name. Though you're going to have to Anthony Bemondi me. We're in trouble. The boot is booting.
All right, I'm putting in all the names. Last chance to get in.
Come on.
Right here.
What we got?
Any guess on what race it is?
What's the one you've been obsessed with?
It's not that one. I feel like I've been doing it too much.
You've been doing it a lot.
I can't do it for a little bit at least.
Oh, for Christian Wilkins.
Clowns.
Yep. I get it. OC said just Venmo, Chugs. All right, hang on. All right. OC Raider in. Mo Chavez in. Tony nuts on your chin. I love that you know it. That's it. So winner goes home with $210.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty good. The fact that you knew that it's nuts in, it's legendary.
More than Wilkins will go home with because he's not getting that $35 million guaranteed.
Jerry, no, I don't see the message. He goes, Chugs, can you put me in the duck race? If I win, you get the money, brother. All right, put Jerry Danley. Chugs is like, I guess, pull my leg.
Yeah.
All right, how about this? I think this is fair. You guys agree with this? Y for yes, N for no. If Jerry Danley lands on it, Chugs gets the money, keeps it, and maybe take your wife out on a dinner for staying late. Fair? I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
I feel like that's fair.
Chugs is like, what if I take myself out? In and out for $210 sounds great. I think it's fair. I think it's fair. If Jerry Danley wins, Chugs keeps the money, and he takes Danny out for a nice dinner. I think that's fair. Peter says, absolutely fair.
Let's go, Jerry. Let's go.
He's going to rig it. This is going to be the ultimate rigged comment down below if this lands on it.
I can't have Jerry win this.
All right, you ready? Let's go. This is going to be electric. Also, you got to look at this is like play clock. Play clock, real clock? I don't know.
Yeah.
Dude, here we go. Here we go. OC Raider and Jerry Danley. I'll tell you what, you're in a good spot.
I like where I am.
Moreno, Moises. I know I didn't spell your name right, but you got a long name on Venmo, dude. Let's just be real. Who's this in the front?
Tucker?
I don't know. Tucker, are you new? Elijah Johnson, 25 seconds
Brian?
ago. Tony Knutson right now is comfortably in the lead. Tony, that's not a good spot. Elijah's falling back. Jedi. Tony Knutson stepped on a Lego, apparently. He's clearly not doing well. Hunter Jackson hunting for the title. Chase Coe. Ron Raspberry. Somebody's got to make a move for 210. And it's going to be the Night Devil. Yeah, I'll tell you what. That's one guy that's terrifying.
See, Jerry, the problem is you said it was going to me, and I never win.
Yeah, technically that is.
Night Devil goes rigged, and then 2 seconds later he goes, never mind.
That's hilarious.
Not
dude.
rigged.
Congrats, dude. I mean, that's pretty funny.
Rigged. Not rigged.
Never mind. Mistyped. I mistyped.
I meant not rigged.
Night Devil, if you could please confirm down below that you received the dollar bills, that would be great.
Jerry, appreciate the help, man.
Now, Jerry, honestly, man, that's what a real one's all about. I think the people that I do truly remember, the people that I think all of us truly remember, are people that when they do what they do, and believe me, there's some crazy shit that happens. Jerry, you dropping 500, honestly, 5 bangs here on the Raiders Sport tonight. That's insane. But I respect it. I hope that there's one day in my life that I'm in the position to be able to bless young kids that really want to truly chase their passion and dreams. Because I'll tell you this, I remember when I used to tell people that I wanted to do what I do, and people used to laugh at me. And honestly, now I feel like I get to laugh at them because I get to do what I love to do every single day, and I have a lot of fun doing it. But it's because of people like you, Jerry. And, you know, like, I never want that to be able to take it for granted. today's been a wild and crazy day. Raiders win the AFC West. Christian Wilkins end up getting released. We're talking about the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, and, an hour later we're sitting up here chugging beers and I look ridiculous. But to me, that's what the Raiders Report is about. That's what good friends are about. When you think about some of the quality memories you have, bachelor party for me, you're just hanging out with your people. The Raiders Report is just about hanging out with your people. So I'm always going to go on tangents. That's what this show here is about. But I mean this. Today was a little bit of a kick in the nuts, losing Christian Wilkins. One thing that I can guarantee you is this. You're going to get some videos from me this weekend. I'll probably be at my house. I'll just be very transparent. Chugs and I worked extra hard this week because we had a long weekend to get some extra videos out for you. And I'll be honest, I don't know if we're going to be able to use them. Because
one of them's definitely.
Yeah, one of them you might as well throw away. Which means, again, you're just going to see a little bit more of me, and I hope that y'all don't mind that. Jerry said, I support y'all because you're the best. Well, Jerry, I personally think that you're the best. So, to everybody that tuned in today, shout out to each and every one of y'all.
Robert asking the XP, it's Jerry and it's not close.
Yeah, it's if somebody were to beat Jerry, I would stay here for 20 minutes. Would be the math. 20 more minutes of this shit show would be a bad idea.
Yeah.
It would be a bad idea. But to everyone, and I think the other way, if you guys are looking to XP, super chats, comments, that's how you get those numbers up. I'm going to look at my phone. I think we are all caught up on everything. I wish Christian Wilkins would have worked out, and I hope that he realizes that he had an opportunity that he let slip through his hands. From me, from Jeremy Chugs, shout out to my wife, Alex. Shout out to Jeremy's wife.
My current wife, Danny.
My current wife, Danny. Oh, man.
She hates when I say that.
I don't doubt it. All right, y'all. We got to get out of here. Peace out. Wilkins, figure it out, dude.